常が決定いたしました。
What's
この他にも
What
タイト
is
ルアッ
going
プ
on,
デート第
peoples?
1弾で追加されるコンテンツはまだあります
Hope
が、
we're all doing well.
詳細は改めてお知らせしたいと思ってお
We're
りま
gonna
す。
be reacting to some
本作は
Nightreign
発売後
gameplay
に
and
数回の
some
タイトルアップデー
of
トを予
the
定してい
state
ます。
of play from
タイトル
PlayStation.
アップデート計画については
Let me know if the
追って
audio
お
is
知ら
fine
せし
if
ま
the
すの
game's
で
too loud or
今後の
whatnot.
情報にご期待ください。
Or if the video is too loud.
2月28日の発売まであと少し。皆様に楽しんでいただけることを心よりお待ちしております。
What's this? I missed something
本
already.
日の発表は以上となります。引き続きステートオブプレイをお楽しみください。
Nothing's happened yet. Sega?
Forged to unleash vengeance. More than a weapon,
Pick you up that button.
it is the soul of a shinobi.
Whatever. Did you go see Drake? No.
No obstacle can stand in their way.
What is this? That looks kind of cool.
Soaring where others would not dare.
Oh, damn.
Striking with lethal precision.
Oh, shit. You could ride a surfboard?
Each weapon a tool. Each tool a part of the whole. This is the master of a shinobi.
He was riding a wolf. That honestly seems kind of cool. Does not seem too bad.
The legend continues.
Now I fight as horror.
It's called Shinobi
Long and
Arts of
hard.
Vengeance. Kind of shit name, not gonna lie. Kind of basic name. Looks like an fucking AI generated name. Let's go watch together. Hopefully we get to see Bloodborne remastered, don't we? Look, my predictions is that there is about an 80% chance that we see Bloodborne remaster getting announced. Surely. Surely. It's the 10-year anniversary coming up next year. It's been a long time. Normally I would say that we're actually waiting for, like, you know, for the right moment to drop the game, but like then again we have Nightreign coming around the corner, and that might end up clashing with it. Saving it for the PS6, maybe a remake for the PS6, not a remaster. Not a remaster.
Shout out Southern, can't wait for this.
And they just
pod,
released the
looking
PS5
forward to
Pro.
the
When's the
sexy
PS6 gonna
baby
come out? Like in
Nightreign.
5 years? Jesse, thank you for the $5. W's for Jesse with the donation. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. What's your reaction if you're gonna see Bloodborne? I'd be like, fucking finally. Thank God. I was right. Then I have to work on making a video talking about Bloodborne Remaster. Be like, things that Bloodborne Remaster needs to actually add, or change, or fix. Bandai Namco? An anime game. What's this gonna be like? Do they have, is this Dragon Age or something? I don't know. See some Liza P today? Maybe some Liza P. That would be pretty cool. Sawio, thank you for the follow. What's up? Ah, that's definitely not Dragon Age. Do they even? I don't know.
Battle to alter destiny begins.
Alter destiny with the
Embark
power
on
of
a
friendship.
journey alongside gods, heroes, and monsters of bygone eras. The anomalies
Heroes and monsters.
known as Digimon.
Is this game's only for PlayStation? Not necessarily, no. It's just like PlayStation is gonna do a thing talking about some games and stuff. It's just like an event for trailers, I suppose. Oh, it's Digimon.
Seize the future. Together. The story of a bond that transcends time.
Digimon story.
I... 2025. That one seems like it's only for the PS5. I mean, it could be for other consoles, but they're not going to advertise the other ones.
大家好，我是《输入之魂》的创作人。
If you guys wanted to play
从
Digimon
一名独立
Story
开发者到今天与 PlayStation 携手，这一路走来已历经10年。《输入之魂》结合了流畅爽快的战斗体验与丰富多样的世界设计，玩家将在各具风格的场景中探索，面对充
Do you
满
like
个性的
Digimon?
敌
Never
人，
played it.
同时与有趣的角色互动，逐步
Never
揭
played
开
it.
精彩的故事。接下来，我非常激动地向大家
Brand
展
new
示
gameplay
全新的
trailer and
游戏预
officially
告并
confirmed
正
the
式确认
game's
游戏的
release date.
发布日期。
Is it a Souls-like game?
I keep having the same dream. A horrible
Another-
dream. Where monsters invade our world.
It's like a Final
powerful
Fantasy
being
ripoff.
falls from the sky. And when it seems they might vanquish the invaders, the dream ends.
The dream
Is
ends.
this really just a dream? My only hope lies with you.
No, Cloud.
To reunite the lost souls.
Come, Kaiser. We will travel across worlds, leap through dimensions.
That's pretty cool.
Together.
That's a cool aesthetic. It seems very Final Fantasy though. Okay, that is like... Does that not look like Tifa and Aerith?
Within you, a destiny waiting to be fulfilled.
Asian developers make the best character models? I don't think so. They all look the fucking same.
Let me be
Like all their
your
character models, like that
vengeance.
just looks like Final Fantasy.
The blade in your hand.
But they make some pretty cool looking monsters though, I'm not gonna lie. The monsters look pretty cool, but the human models all look pretty pretty mid. This looks like it's terrible quality. This is HD quality.
You never wanted to be a hero. But for humanity's sake,
If I go watch this on Twitch, would it be better?
Then give me your power, Arena.
Lost soul aside.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean Benson. We've got several updates today from partners around the world, starting with news from the Like a Dragon series. First up, a playable demo of Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Okay,
arrives
so like
on
the Twitch one is
PS5
actually
this Friday.
further ahead.
At Bancho Sushi. Dave the Diver Ichiban's Holiday arrives this April on PS5
Dave
and
the
PS4.
Diver Ichiban's Holiday.
The Splitgate 2 alpha begins February 27th on PS5. Use portals and futuristic physics to dominate the arena and play a new 24-player mode where 3 teams compete on a massive map.
Isn't this Splitgate or something like that? Is the game still alive? That was
Ladies
terrible
and gentlemen,
accuracy.
my name is Paul Heyman. I'm here
Splitgate
to
2?
give you
Oh.
an exclusive first look in the future of the WWE 2K franchise. Introducing the Island.
The Island.
With the Island, players enter an online environment filled with
Splitgate was
WWE
never alive?
landmarks, quests, live events, and shops with up to 50 other players at a time.
50 other
The
plays at a
island
time?
also offers deep customization, giving players the chance to personalize
Oh,
their My
shit.
Superstars like never before.
Okay, Chad, there's no reason
As
for me
the
to be a
first of its
FromSoft
kind
streamer
of
anymore when
franchise,
this game exists.
The
We're done.
Island is not just an addition, it's a bold step toward the future. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Island.
Welcome. I'm Konga Tom. Thank you for the follow. What's up, man? How are things, buddy? WWE. Borderlands 4.
Sup? I'm Randy from Gearbox.
And I'm Randy from Gearbox. And you know why we're here.
And they're Randy from Gearbox.
Are you ready? It's 2025, and every day we are getting closer to the launch of Borderlands 4.
I honestly forgot there was going to be a new Borderlands game. Borderlands 4 looks boring as hell.
Wake up and I'm feeling like a I wake up feeling like a brand new. I wake up feeling like a brand new.
It looks like Borderlands.
I'm on different timing. You don't wanna try me. I'm on different timing. Get up the beat like ya. Off the heat like ya. We step on the beat like come on. Wake up and I'm feeling like a
That's a cool looking gun. Isn't Borderlands a thing from Fortnite? Probably. Literally the same game. What if Bloodborne 2 comes in? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
wake up and I'm feeling like a punk.
What if there's a Bloodborne 2 that guarantees a Bloodborne
So
remaster
badass,
and
so much
a
fun.
Bloodborne
I want
PC
more.
port?
We don't have to wait long now. Borderlands 4 is going to break free for its special state of
Let's go to
play
Marzo.
this
How things,
spring,
buddy?
focused exclusively on Borderlands 4. And we're diving deep, you guys. Join us. Borderlands 4, state of play for combat, vault hunters, action skills, exploration and discovery, everything. You're gonna see more guns than
Exploration
this
and
movie,
discovery?
all on PlayStation 5. But
Never
Randy,
played a
do you have
Borderlands
anything
games?
else
They're
for us?
okay.
I think I do, Randy. Well, what is it? Don't hold out on me, Randy. I'll feed you, baby bird. Who wants a launch date for Borderlands 4? This Randy. Well, Borderlands 4 launches worldwide for everyone on September 23rd, 2025. We got work to do. See you in spring.
Okay. September 23rd. EA Originals. From the makers of It Takes Two. I remember looking at this game from the last award show.
I really don't do small talk.
This looks pretty cool. Two writers, two worlds apart.
You want to go through more of your crazy stories?
My crazy stories. But how are we supposed to get out of here if we don't start to trust each other? I don't need your trust.
Have to trust each other.
I kind of need yours.
2, 1, go!
I took inspiration for this story from when me and my sister were younger.
Look at all of this. It's amazing. I base the story around my dad. All I can do is write this.
It's a story-based
story.
game.
Oh, we'll face it together.
It's not for me, clearly.
We got this.
Yeah.
An extraordinary co-op adventure.
I wrote it when I was a kid. What sort of devil child were you?
Hands above your head.
What now? Ah, I did not sign up for this. Brace yourself, Zoe!
Brace yourself. It's gonna hit us.
Honestly, it does look kind of interesting because this is like the same thing as like A Way Out, right? But it's just gonna be They like to make these co-op types of games, which is pretty cool. They're like the only developers actually making like couch co-op games nowadays. Like, when was the last time we actually had some fucking actual legitimate couch co-op games? So that's pretty cool if you have like, you know, people that you play within at home. It's gonna be like must-play type of games.
Looks like it penetrated through there. We need to inspect the hull damage first.
Doesn't look too bad.
Play with me? Sure. Did you watch Nightreign? No. We're gonna watch it together. On stream.
My body's going one way and my mind's going another.
What is that? This ship is infected with an alien organism. It still doesn't feel
An
real
alien
sometimes.
organism.
Forget why you started.
Oh.
It's a horror game. That's not for me. Is that an alien game? I don't know. Death takes many forms.
We can't take any chances with him.
It can manipulate its physical appearance. It's changing its cellular structure. It's replicating the human form. It's replacing us.
I know this will be difficult to hear.
Oh.
But if you're still out there, you deserve the truth.
That's a major L. Directive 8020. Yeah, I'm good on all that shit. I don't play horror games. Looks good? Yeah, it looks okay. I mean, some for me, though. Not my type of game.
So, let me explain the situation.
Let me explain the situation.
Fazbear?
Leaving our property abandoned in his warehouse. Your job is simple. Enter the warehouse and retrieve the technology that he was developing for us.
Get in the warehouse and retrieve the technology.
Endoskeleton that can adapt to any costume and become any character. We suspect it may be malfunctioning, so just be aware of the slim but non-zero chance that you could sustain significant injuries while attempting to retrieve it, including
I don't play horror games.
death or dismemberment. We fully expect the retrieval process to go smoothly and without incident. But just in case, we suggest you get your affairs in order before arriving.
That's a cool hat. This is another game that's not for me. Five Nights at Freddy's, Secrets of the Mimic. Mimic? That's a Souls reference. Everyone knows that Dark Souls invented mimics. It's not a horror game, these games are for kids.
We're the creators of the Midnight Walk. Cozy horror game created
okay.
entirely in clay, where you will journey down a nightmarish highway riddled with terrors that want to devour you and your little lantern creature, Hot Boy. Together with your little friend, you must outsmart these terrors
Who the
and
fuck is
bring
that?
back fire to this mad world we've handcrafted for you. So please enjoy this short gameplay preview.
Short gameplay preview of what is this? Another horror game?
The burnt one woke from a deep slumber.
It's a match. That's pretty cool art style.
I'd almost forgotten how
That looks pretty cool.
You're the caretaker of
Look
this
at the little
old
guy.
firecracker. I reckon you must be headed for Moon Mountain.
That's
Am I
cool.
right?
Damn.
Close your eyes to make things clear.
What the hell? It's like he plays a little bug. Is this a Hollow Knight reference? Everyone knows Hollow Knight invented bugs. I actually like the art style on that one. That looks pretty cool. I fuck with that. On PlayStation VR as well. Wow.
Special thanks to Klaus and Olav for that updated look at the Midnight Walk. Up next, a quirky new adventure from Konami.
Darwin's Paradox. You're so cute.
In Darwin's Paradox, you play as Darwin, a clever octopus who finds himself.
You play as
dumped near a
Darwin in
highly
Darwin's
suspicious
Paradox? No
food
way.
Processing center.
It's an octopus. You get to play as an octopus. Oh, this shit is lit.
Use Darwin's natural camouflage and inking skills to escape the facility and save the world from aliens.
Wait, is this a sequel to Bloodborne?
We're
Warrior
excited
X
to reveal a brand
roguelike.
new title from Koei Tecmo Games.
Infinite
and
hell
Warriors.
awaits.
Warriors Abyss, a roguelike
Warriors
spin
Abyss.
on the Warriors franchise.
Well, it's gonna be like a warrior-style game and a roguelike? That's pretty interesting. I typically like those, the Musho, what the fuck they're called. The warrior-styled games. They get really
Descend
repetitive.
into hell.
But a
Call
roguelike
on
could make them not
powerful allies.
repetitive, though. That's very interesting. I'd never play it,
And
though.
experiment with tons of playstyle combinations to send the enemy hordes flying.
But it looks interesting. That's an interesting concept.
A roguelite hell awaits when Warriors Abyss launches on PS5
Warriors
and PS4
Abyss.
later today.
For whom are you working? I won't forgive you.
I won't forgive you.
Brace yourself.
A PS2 era classic returns with Onimusha 2: Samurai's Destiny.
Onimusha.
Capcom is enhancing the original game with HD graphics.
They're
and a host
remastering
of
it.
quality of life features, including fine-tuning.
Can you help me with something? What do you need help for? Sekiro 2? This has to be Sekiro 2.
Jube's hard-boiled journey.
Everyone knows that
Fight through a
Sekiro
world of
invented
turmoil
samurai.
alongside trusty allies. Onimusha 2: Samurai's Destiny comes to PS4 on May 23rd and will be available for pre-order later today.
It'll be available later
Looking
today
to
for pre-order.
2026,
Chat, get on it.
Let's check out a new trailer for Capcom's latest entry in the series.
Oh, they're
Onimusha: Way
remastering
of the Sword.
Onimusha because of the new Onimusha game coming out. I see now. Oh, we get to see more about this game. That's pretty cool. They're gonna be like, oh, you have to play the original ones first to actually understand this one. Is Bloodborne announced yet? No, if they're gonna announce Bloodborne, it'd be like the very last trailer. If they're gonna do anything Bloodborne related. Captured on PC? I mean, basically every game is captured on PC. Unless it's an exclusive, right? Ghost? No, this is Onimusha. This is the Capcom game. The reboot. Miyamoto Musashi. Winning is what matters. Oh, look at that gameplay right there. Oh, that was a clean ass like deflect type shit. That was nice. A man without culture. Thank you for the follow. Run away. Oh, that's kind of tough. He deflected the sword and I buffed the sword. Oh, it split him in half. That's tough. Get to fight monsters. Okay. The quality of this state of play is not good. 1080p is the max. I don't know. That looks cool. 2026. Why did you stream in 4K? Because I have problems streaming in 1440p.
Colonel, tighten the security on this place. He's coming
It's the
here,
Metal
I'm
Gear
sure
guy.
of it.
That's the guy from Metal Gear.
America is out to destroy the Shagohod and get its hands on your inheritance. The philosopher's legacy.
What is this, a remaster?
Then they're out to kill me as well.
What's the story between you and the boss?
She was like a mother and my master.
The Cobras will take care of him.
Do you hear me, Snake?
Damn, look at that eyeball right there.
We are the sons of the boss. I see it.
Why can't we get that as a weapon? B-fists.
A great and terrible fury at being alive.
A terrible fury.
Sorrows. And you are one of them.
Why'd you come back? There's nothing for you here. Go home. Go back to your boss.
Damn.
I still have the Shagohod and the legacy. There is nothing America can do to stop us. I'm not finished yet.
I'm not finished yet. That has to be Bloodborne. Definitely Bloodborne. It's Ape Escape. Wait. What? That's part of Metal Gear Solid? Wait, what? I'm confused.
When
It's
the
canon
fury
now?
of emotions
sparks the wildfire of violence. It dissolves our illusions and exposes the fragile structure of reality.
This one looks exactly like Bloodborne.
Why did you come back?
I stood in the home I was born in. In that moment,
Oh, girl, you sneezed.
I felt a connection.
Epsilon 11, sound off.
You're not able to comprehend Metal Gear lore. I can't even comprehend Dark Souls lore or Elden Ring lore.
What happened here?
It is Bloodborne. Look at it.
Hatred and
There's a gun. Everyone in Bloodborne invented guns.
Impossible. It's you. We must continue.
That must be a new Chalice dungeon. What's the gameplay like? Show us the gameplay. Oh, okay, it's a Souls-like. Cool. Whereas like a Souls combat action adventure. September the 4th, 2025. Well, if it's coming out this year. Oh, hell is us. Didn't we hear about this one before? We can look into that. I mean, if it's coming out this year, why don't you give us some more gameplay? I don't know. We'll see. Liza P! Chat! Liza P DLC! That's a snow area!
Can it be winter all of a sudden?
Snow area DLC, really?
Sorry. You want to know the year?
What a pleasure to meet a stalker worthy of the name. It's been far, far too long.
Look at that cool hat!
My forever
Another kitty cat to pet. It's probably the same one.
hold your hand and dance.
You're not the puppet I was expecting. Who are you?
Oh, this is gonna be tough, I can tell.
She was looking for
Look at that carcass right there.
Legendary. She stepped up only because no one else could. Too many stalkers were lost to that evil.
What the hell is that? You can summon Alidor. He's still there. Was that an arrow? That was a bow and arrow? Oh, those are claw weapons. No way. Okay. What is that?
Even in my life. I swear I won't be late. Not again.
What was that? Damn. Okay, summer 2025. But that's summer for the northern hemisphere, right? That's winter for me. That's gonna clash with Nightreign. Probably like, maybe, hopefully it's like a few months after Nightreign. That'd be pretty cool. Well, confirmed, chat. It's this year. More content for the channel, yeah. We get Nightreign in a few months, and then a couple months after that we can get Liza P DLC, and then a few months after that will be the Nightreign DLC. That was sick. There's gonna be so much cool shit there. Hopefully that does give us more stuff. That means you can go play Liza P again, chat. Probably not anytime, probably not for like next week though. Liza P is better than Bloodborne, you're allowed to have an opinion that you like a game better than another game. Even if someone came in here saying that fucking the new Call of Duty game is better than every Dark Souls game combined, I wouldn't. It's personal preference. Anyway. You like what you like. What was that? I don't know. I was not paying attention to whatever game that was. But Liza P. Maybe that's the real Bloodborne remaster. Chat the Liza P DLC. Honestly, that's it. We're satisfied. We're satisfied. Do you like Star Wars games? They're okay. You're playing Liza P DLC after the Nightreign tests? Yeah, probably. Might as well. Go delve back into Nightreign then.
Hey everyone, I'm Kristen Zatani, and I'm excited to share even more PlayStation news in today's show.
More PlayStation news. Days Gone
Days
Remastered.
Gone Remastered. The definitive version of Ben Studios' post-apocalyptic open-world epic comes to PS5 with VRR
7-minute video
and
breaking down
PS5
Liza P DLC trailer when? No.
It also includes added content like permadeath and speedrun modes, an enhanced photo mode, new accessibility features, and
Well, that's
Horde
pretty cool.
Assault, a
Good for the
survival
Days
arcade
Gone
mode with
players.
increased horde sizes that will provide a fresh way to experience Days Gone. And if you purchase Days Gone on PlayStation 4, you can upgrade to a digital version of Days Gone Remastered.
You can get the
and all
free
the content and
PS5
features
upgrade.
For $10.
Wow,
Days Gone
$10. Never
Remastered
mind.
launches on PS5.
No free
April
upgrade for
25th.
you.
New DLC is coming to Stellar Blade this June.
Stellar
The sci-fi
Blade
action game
DLC?
is partnering with Goddess of Victory Nike on a new boss battle, collectible dolls and stickers, plus a new outfit.
Plus a new outfit. They have pink hair in Stellar Blade now. That is like
Both
the entire
Nike
ass
DLC
showing. Like
and
there
the
was
PC
literally
version of
nothing
Stellar
else.
Blade launch this June. We've got some great PlayStation Plus updates today, starting with game catalog titles.
There was
arriving
zero
on
cake there as
February
well.
18th. Star
And I
Wars
had the
Jedi
entire
Survivor,
ass out.
Top Spin 2K25,
with no
and launching
cake.
in a game catalog, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage.
You better put that
from
shit back in the
creators
oven.
Of Life is Strange.
Did you girls ever see anything weird around these parts?
In this episodic adventure, players will join 4 high school girls living through the defining summer of their lives. What begins as a tale of friendship will
I'd love to
eventually
play this
blend
game.
reality,
This seems like
dreams,
it's-
and the
it's
unknown
made
into
for
a
me.
dual timeline narrative.
This is
The
Bloodborne?
first
Yes.
episode of Lost Records, Bloom and Rage arrives February 18th, with the second episode arriving in April.
Is this the actual
We're
show?
also
Yes, the actual
excited
show,
to
yeah.
confirm 2 unique indie titles that will launch into game catalog later this year. Explore a mysterious mansion
It's
in
not Life is
Blueprints,
Strange? I think it's
a
the made by the same
genre-bending
people
architectural adventure.
as Life is Strange.
Every door is a new decision as you build out a sprawling
Every
manor
door
with
is a new
45
decision.
shifting rooms, adding layers of strategy, puzzles, and exploration.
Strategy? That means I have to use my brain for puzzles. I'm not doing that.
Blueprints launches day 1 into game catalog this spring.
Is this Minecraft? Yes, that was Minecraft.
Abiotic Factor is a 6-player survival crafting game from PlayStack
A
and Deep Field
6-player
Games.
survival
Stranded
crafting game.
miles beneath the surface, you and a team of scientists must craft ingenious gear and traps to outwit your enemies and make this bizarre underground complex your new home.
Sounds lit.
Abiotic Factor will be available in game catalog when it launches this summer.
Abiotic Factor.
Now let's get a sneak peek at games coming to the PlayStation Plus Classics catalog.
The PlayStation Plus
Coming soon are
Classics
the
catalog.
first 3 Armored
What's
Core
coming
titles
to the
from the original
PlayStation Plus
PlayStation.
Classics
Armored Core,
catalog?
Armored Core Project Phantasma,
Armored
and Armored
Core?
Core Master of Arena. Meanwhile, Patapon 3 slides its way into the Classics catalog next
That's
week.
actually pretty cool. Play it on an emulator, chat. Don't bother. Don't play
No
playing
one
Armored
knows
Core.
how that world came
The
into
original
being.
one.
It devoured everything from the past.
What is this?
Only I was left.
There's some next level
That was a
graphics
fatal
right there.
mistake.
That's Scarlett Johansson. Eclipse Glow Games. Who the fuck are they?
It's the aura of the Grail pieces. I can sense it.
I can sense it.
As long as it is reforged.
My wish can be fulfilled. But
Wait, I forgot their name already. What are they
wishes come
called?
at a
I forgot their name.
To pursue one's wishes is to
Oh,
court
cool.
one's doom.
You're doing all that in a dress, really? Why does that have to make characters look like this sometimes? Like, have them... Whatever. Okay.
Holy Grail.
Another action adventure. A girl with a sword.
Only for the king.
That's some tough visuals and particle effects.
Gwendolyn, this is your final warning.
quarrel lies not with you,
Interesting.
but I will take back
That looks cool.
everything that belongs to me. Even if the price is
She hit him with the
my soul.
Kamiya Mama. Girl with a sword, another one. Tides of Annihilation. Eclipse Glow Games. Who the fuck are
The
they?
table is dead. It exists no more.
I tried looking them up, I can't see anything. There's nothing there. Who the fuck is Eclipse Glow Games? I don't know. That just looks like another, like, action adventure, I don't know. Might be okay. We'll see.
How do you feel? Is something bothering you?
Hopefully it has, like, RPG features with actually, like, different weapons and stuff, but I'm not hopeful. It's probably gonna be, like, another Stellar Blade type shit.
Deep down in the depths of Vulcan.
Deep down in the depths of Vulcan.
The Architect's core.
Concord 2. We actually might end up seeing a Concord remaster. Who knows?
They will send everything they have to stop us.
I didn't doubt they'll end up, like, you know, they spent a lot of money in that game. They're probably just gonna, like, you know, fix it up a little bit, make it a bit different, and then release it as a free-to-play game.
But the path we walk demands the extreme.
I remember you.
Run away.
Metal Eden. Looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
Think Sony should just focus on
My
single-player
memory's still
titles?
a bit blurry.
Maybe. Well, they haven't actually made a multiplayer game, like, in forever. Like, since Concord. Like, when was the last one? So, it's like, we're gonna try and do it. They want to delve into it, and then their first attempt was gonna shit. That's probably why they bought out Bungie as well, just so they could make a multiplayer game.
Satellite gives us a 10-minute window.
Similar to Ghost Runner? Yeah, kind of was.
You made it. That's just leftover hardware. It's been decommissioned.
Well, at least we got Liza P DLC trailer. That's pretty cool. I forgot what it was called already, the name of the trailer, but for the DLC. That's all that matters.
I'll cover you. All this time you just wanted answers about the tech in your head? Are you kidding me? This thing has ruined my life. You have no idea who you're kidding.
It's ruined his life.
And what you did?
Overture, that's what it was, yeah. Is that a GTA ripoff?
Fatal error with your tech.
I don't know.
Yes, make it stop! Make it stop!
I don't think so. Because you can ride a car in a city? I don't think. I don't think it's gonna be a GTA game.
This is the only way.
Crisis? I don't know. Minds. What is it? Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye.
Hello, I'm Leslie Benzies, director of Mind's Eye. Builder
He's the
Robert Boyd's
director.
new action adventure set in a fictional city. of
GTA
Red
7
Rock,
before GTA 6.
Where AI and human greed collide to bring Earth to the precipice of collapse. All captured on PlayStation 5 Pro. We're now proud to share some gameplay footage with the explosive combat and high-octane driving that you can expect on PlayStation 5 later this year.
Later this year, chat, if you wanna play with some high-octane gameplay. Do. The soul. Look at that drifting right there. He looks rendered.
It was an ambush.
How much longer does it stay to play? I think they typically go for like an hour, right? I don't know.
Do not lose her.
Probably ending soon.
Tires are out. Proceeding on foot.
So it looks like the game you have to be shooting a lot of stuff.
I'm coming to you now. The search and rescue bots. They're malfunctioning. They're attacking us.
Boom. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's a game for me. PlayStation Studios.
It always comes.
Is it gonna be It's gotta be an exclusive of some sort. What exclusive is this gonna be this time? It's probably gonna be something that we've already seen before, right? Like from the Game Awards? We see more like an intergalactic or something? That's not intergalactic. I don't know what that's gonna be.
This world. This moment. This choice.
Bloodborne. It's not gonna be Bloodborne. Bloodborne didn't make. Wasn't developed by Sony Studios. That was Japan Studios. And they're dismantled now as well. So, but if it's gonna be somebody,
the sun dies,
if it's gonna be like a remake, it wouldn't be done by From Software anyway. It'd be someone different.
Then everything begins again. But after every death,
interesting.
I always come back stronger.
Oof, what the hell is that? I'm not sure if your gun's gonna do much to that one, buddy.
And I will find you.
Astrobot 2. Saros? What kind of font is that? Looks like it's cut off. You can tell it's a Sony exclusive because we didn't see any gameplay. It's the Returnal studio that made Returnal made that one? Come Back Stronger. 2026. Looks pretty clean. Well, the one cutscene looked cool, I guess.
Loudon, creative director at Housemarque. We are thrilled to announce that our latest game,
oh,
Saros,
Housemarque, they did
Returnal
Returnal
on PS5 and enhanced for PS5 Pro. Saros
enhanced
is the
for
ultimate
PS5
evolution
Pro as well,
of
no
the
way.
Housemarque gameplay first experience. It's a new single-player IP that builds on Returnal's award-winning third-person action.
Oh, okay, so it's probably gonna be a roguelike then.
Performed by the brilliant Rahul.
It says builds on Returnals.
Arjun is a powerful enforcer
maybe it's probably not a roguelike,
searching
who knows?
for answers on a hostile, shape-shifting planet haunted by an ominous eclipse. All of us at Housemarque can't wait to share more about Saros, with our first look at gameplay coming later this year. Thanks for watching.
First look at gameplay coming later this year. Well, that's cool. Well, that's cool. That's interesting. There's been a couple of like cool looking games. Obviously, Liza P DLC. Onimusha looks pretty cool. Hell of Us, we've got to look see what's more about that. That's it, chat. No Bloodborne. Confirmed. Another year of no Bloodborne. Everyone's saying L in the chat. GTA 6? What a failure. It's like my game that I wanted to see didn't get announced. Like they want to see like fucking their favorite game get a sequel. They want to see like the new God of War game. They want to see like another Last of Us games. Like let them make the games. Anyway, no Bloodborne. But we got Liza P DLC news, which that's cool. Let's go break down this trailer. Overture. Neo Wiz. Now it's in higher quality. Look at that. That's much more high definition.
How can it be winter all of a sudden?
How can it be winter?
I'm sorry. You want to know the year?
What a pleasure to meet a stalker worthy of the name. It's been far, far too long.
Oh, my forever friend. Help me to hold your hand and dance.
New emotes? Emoting in front of a little thing? Was this Neo 2?
Puppet I was expecting. Who are you?
Wait, hold up. That looks kind of cool.
Expecting. Who are
It looks kind of like, what's her name from, Overwatch? Echo. Does look like Echo from Overwatch? With like some cool like mace.
you?
Mercy? Has Mercy wings, but it kind of has like the body of Echo. It's a puppet being controlled by this lady. That's pretty cool.
She was looking for someone.
Legend.
Mavashi, thank you for the follow. What's up, man?
She stepped up only because no one else could.
That's a tough looking sword right there. And you get to blow a horn to like, is this like to summon somebody? I don't know what this this mechanic is gonna be. But he blew the horn and somebody came in. Maybe it's just probably something for a trailer. But I don't wonder what that's gonna be. That's a big ass dagger.
Too many stalkers were lost to that evil.
Is that just like the booster glitch? No. Look at that, chat. There's a bow and arrow in this game. That's tough. That's a new that's a new arm as well. Damn, look at that shit right there. That shit is cool. Boom! Oh, that's tough. It's a guy with a big ball, and then whatever the hell. These are the claws. Oh, these claws are gonna be so cool. Oh my god, look at that right there. Look at them claws. Look at that right there. Oh, there's claws in the game. Oh, this changes everything. Oh, this changes everything. Well, this has to be like a boss weapon. So we might end up fighting a boss with this because there's no handle and there's no blade. So it has to be a boss weapon. That looks tough. Oh, shit. He can shoot a gun. That's probably the blade skill. That's insane. And what the hell are these weapons? Look at that. What is this weapon? Who creates something like that? What a unique design. Look at that. It's literally balls. It's like levitating balls as a melee option. That has to be the skill. What the heck? And then there's this thingy. That's my cool ass looking curve sword. How are they cooking this hard? And then there's whatever that is. How much Fable is that gonna cost?
Not again.
Damn. So it's gonna be sometime. So summer is what? When's that? That's June to August, right? And Nightreign is the 30th of May, which is basically at the start of summer or winter over here. Well, that's cool. That's cool. So hopefully it's gonna be like August. That'll be nice. Release in August. So give us time to like play around with Nightreign and then play this, and then when that's finished, we can go play the Nightreign DLC. We have lots of content coming up, chat. There's some cool ass shit, I'm not gonna lie. Let's watch it again. DLC will be on all platforms? The same platforms that it was released on. I don't know where exactly Lies of P was released on, but yeah. There's not gonna be DLC exclusive. Interesting. I know nothing about the lore in this game, so. How far away is May? 3 months. I don't know what the hell that thing's supposed to be. Is that a new sword as well? That seemed like the same sword that was using with that insane combo, right?
No one else could. Too many stalkers were lost.
What's going on, Yui? Gang! That's a big ass hammer right there. Got cool horns. Has the ram horns. Nice. Boom. Oh, this shit is tough.
I'll do whatever it takes. Your survival is all that matters. Nothing else comes close.
I wonder what like boss you're gonna get those balls off. It looks like the same weapon, right? The one that she was using.
I swear I won't be late. Not again.
We get to fight in the snow, chat. Long and hard. That's gonna be insane. It's gonna be another classic. It's gonna be another classic. Okay, chat. Time to watch some Nightreign videos. I haven't seen anything about anyone's videos. Unfortunately, I did not get invited. I'm very upset about not getting invited. I know who made videos. I know who made the videos. Okay. We'll go watch Vardy's video first, then we'll go watch Iron Pineapple, and then Ouroboros. See what's going on there. Even PC Gamer got to play. I'm mad. They're gonna give me a code for free to play the beta or the network test.
Recently, I played 6 hours of Elden Ring Nightreign, and...
Can I please?
We were locked in for that entire...
Okay. Subtitles on.
Recently, I played 6 hours of Elden Ring Nightreign.
Recently? When was recently?
We were locked in for that entire time.
Who's we?
This game is addictive.
Max,
Hey,
thank you for the sub, man. W's for Max for the 7 months. Appreciate it, my dude.
It's intense. It's way faster paced than I expected, and I think it's gonna be a hit. So let's talk.
He thinks it's gonna be a hit.
Our characters have just left.
That's the battle boss chat.
Round table hold, and day 1 is about to begin.
Turn it up. What's it, Zony present? We got Liza P DLC, that's all that matters. Only Musha was pretty cool looking. There's a couple other games that look pretty cool. I know it's okay. Wasn't a bad state of play, honestly.
Goal in Nightreign is to survive each day as a ring of rain closes in around you and your team. Then, at the start of day 3, you'll fight one of
There's still like a lot of
eight
verticality, it's
bosses
pretty cool.
using all of the randomized loot and buffs that you've accumulated over the course.
Damn, look at that pace.
Now, every session...
Damn, look at that sword.
...when you play in Nightreign is supposed to be somewhat unpredictable. You won't always explore the
that shield, you could throw it.
Same map, or receive the same loot, or face the same enemies. The one thing, though, that I found very predictable in every single one of my Nightreign sessions was this feeling of pressure. The pressure not just to survive, but the pressure to get stronger. Because if you don't get
the pressure chat
fast, there's no way you'll defeat the final boss. You can kind of see that pressure in action here.
Wait, there's like a slowing down, like drifting animation when you sprint and slow down.
Powerful fast, there's no way you'll defeat the final boss. You can kind of see that pressure.
New animations, chat. Hell yeah.
Here, these characters just rested at a grace and leveled up and ran because the rain is coming.
Oh, the storm.
You don't have much time.
Quick, get to the ring. He's in the storm.
In our playthrough session, we would have to make...
This is basically... So it's like a reskinned Limgrave, because this is obviously Limgrave. It's called Limveld. I mean, it's probably going to be a bunch of, like, reskinned areas. That's the,
That's these cool. Split-second decisions about
wonder how much looks the same.
What to do, and most importantly, whether we had the time to do it. So often...
Is that the Knight Rider's Glaive?
It was
Knight Rider's Glaive.
Between defeating a boss and claiming its loot, or running away and living to fight another day.
Whoa, look at that tree.
So many subtle changes have been made
to
the
look at that. Climbing
as well, and all of these changes
wall
have
jumping
been made in the name of speed and efficiency. For example, you can now vault easily over objects and even enemies.
Oh, no way. That's kind of cool.
Get where you need to go. Gone are the days
climbing up an enemy.
Torrent to traverse the map. Now you can press L3 to activate a powerful sprint.
L3 to go up the Spirit Spring? Oh, look at that skybox. That looks nice.
Spirit Springs on foot, which vault you so high up into the air. Also, there's no fall damage in Nightreign, so
that was already
from
confirmed.
high places, it's easy to justify jumping down and getting to where you need to be.
Is there going to be like a falling animation, or can you like glide?
Let's
or you
talk
can rolls
about
at the bottom.
Classes, the different Nightfarers that you can choose to play in this game.
I only choose between 4 Nightfarers in our demo, but the full game will have more.
this is the Recluse, a mage character that, like
A
other
stone
characters,
sword key system. Still.
has an ability and an ultimate that you can use. They've turned the HUD off for the footage that they've
It's
given
Super Steven. What are the benefit of actually killing these things is? No.
us, but I remember what these abilities and skills.
Hopefully we have like dedicated. Hopefully it tells about like how like the spells actually work and dedicated buttons. That's the Godskin Pillar, and we have Shattering Crystal spell. That looks like the crystal staff too.
I've drawn them, and this is where they are usually on the screen. Your activated ability is on the left, and your ultimate
Oh, look at that dodge.
are usually on the screen. Your activated ability is on the left, and your ultimate is on the right. Both of these circles fill up over time, and when they're full,
Is that an
that's
ability?
when you can
Iframes?
use the ability or the ultimate.
A debuff?
The Recluse
Is that an
has
ultimate?
ability that is actually much more complicated than the other characters' abilities, and I think they
Was it like FP regen and HP regen? It looks like a debuff that makes them do more FP and HP.
designed it this way because the Recluse is designed to be a backline.
That was a cool fire attack.
In Nightreign, the spells you cast are tied to the weapons you pick up.
That was a deflect. He
you
just
usually
deflected.
only have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 spells on hand. So from
That was kind of cool. It was like a gravitational missile.
Nightreign, the spells you cast are tied to the weapons you pick up.
The spells are tied to the weapons you pick up.
You usually only have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 spells on hand. So From Software has given mages another system to sort of micromanage while they're standing in the backline casting spells. Let me explain really quickly how it works. Basically, whenever an enemy or a teammate gets tagged by a certain type of damage, like fire or magic or holy, a little marker will appear on them, and then the Recluse can absorb that type of energy, getting a little bit of mana, but more importantly, filling out one of these small orbs. Then, when you've acquired 3 elements, you can unleash the Recluse's ability, generating a unique spell based on the combination of elements you've acquired.
Ah. Wow.
So, a huge
fancy smancy stuff. So it's going to be like actual like... So having team composition is going to be pretty important then. And like choosing what types of elements. Okay. That's a cool looking halberd. The Leonin Misbegotten.
huge part of this character's skill expression is going to be understanding intuitively what these different combinations of spell are and whether you're in the right position to cast.
Is that like a debuff that they put on the enemy?
And this is just this character's ability. They obviously have an ultimate as well, and this one is more straightforward. Basically, after a short delay, you can mark nearby enemies with this red tag, and once marked, if anyone on your team...
Did Moonville get nerfed? From when? No. Come here, baby.
...team hits them, they will regain health and mana, which is incredible for the sustained
I wonder how
health
much that
of
is.
your party. Now,
Wait, so it's still going to be an FP system. So I wonder how you actually end up regenerating FP and stuff. Would it just be by going to a Grace? You would like manage your FP?
when you cast an ultimate from any character, your character actually becomes invincible while they're casting it, which...
Really?
in the case of the
Every ultimate has iframes. Cool. Well, that's cool. That means they can make the animations be as long as possible, not have to be interrupted. That'd be like the worst. Imagine getting interrupted out of a fucking ultimate ability. That'd piss me off.
Recluse is especially handy, as you can see in this footage, where they use it to sort of mitigate all of the aggro that they're receiving. Okay, so the Recluse is the most complicated character to explain. They also even have a passive ability, just like the other characters do, but I don't really know what the Recluse's does. I think it regenerates mana somehow. Anyway, let's talk about the next character, Wilder.
A passive ability. He's got FP
like
regen.
The other characters do, but I don't really know what the Recluse's does. I think it regenerates mana somehow. Anyway, let's talk about the next character.
Was that like the FP animation? He didn't actually drink a flask. He did like some weird fucking thing to get FP.
Wilder, who is very much a jack of all trades.
The jack of all
Wilder's
trades.
hookshot ability is on a very short cooldown.
Does it
You'll
grapple
find
him, or
yourself
does it
using
actually
a
like
lot.
just pull him
On
towards you?
small enemies,
Is that the forked greatsword?
it pulls them towards you, and on larger enemies, it pulls you towards.
Oh, it's Onze. What's the fuck's name? Ons? I don't know if how you say his name.
towards them. One thing worth noting is it's easy to chain the hookshot into
There's gonna be summons in this game?
different attacks, like you can see here. The hookshot can also be aimed manually,
The
hitting
lance!
terrain and
Okay, you can use that as a grapple hook. That's pretty cool.
launching you forward.
The puppet string? Yeah.
Wilder's ultimate also uses his left arm. The grappling hook opens up for an explosive blast.
Oh,
This
that's
blast
tough.
can-
That's like the, what do you call it? The stake driver from Bloodborne.
Now, Wilder's ultimate also uses his left arm. The grappling hook opens
So it's like a stake driver and a puppet string in one. That's kind of lit.
for an explosive blast. This blast
Hell yeah.
can be charged, it can be comboed.
Pal
with
bunker?
your
Yeah, same
running
thing as stake driver, yeah.
animation and
Kinda.
The hookshot animation, and it stuns enemies. In this case, it actually staggered the enemy, allowing for a critical hit, but on every
Leon and Misbegotten, I mean, if it's going to be the same amount of stance damage that they have in the base game, pretty sure Leon and Misbegotten has like 65 poise, so. At least that much then. That's
every
cool.
single enemy and boss I used it against, it also stunned them for a short amount of time. Which
It
was
stunned
this unique
them.
animation that allowed my teammates
A unique stunning animation. Wow. Siznulia, thank you for the follow. I'm not sure if I say that name right, but thank you.
to sort of get a moment to breathe or do extra damage.
Enemies can now be damaged by teammates during riposte animations. Enemies can be damaged by teammates during riposte animations? Wow. So you can actually go get a crit and it's going to be... Okay. You can just destroy them then. Let's go for stance breaking builds, get the critical damage. Like, quick, fuck them up. That's interesting.
Wilder's passive ability is a one-time use effect that allows him to completely negate any instant of damage that would have killed him. You might have just seen it activate there. Basically, Wilder does this brief moment of inspired acrobatics and gets a...
Well, like, Tears of Denial? Is that what it's like? Tears of Denial?
Wilder's passive ability is a one-time
passive
use
ability.
effect that allows him to completely negate any instant of damage that would have killed him.
Yeah.
You might have just seen it activate there.
Okay, so it's like a Tears the Denial effect, but only one time you can't recast it because it's a passive. Well, that's cool.
Basically, Wilder does this brief moment of inspired acrobatics and gets a second chance instead of being downed. Next, let's talk about the Guardian. So the Guardian's passive ability is this shield stance, I'm pretty sure.
A
which
shield
increases
stance?
your
He's gonna be the
guarding
tank guy.
capabilities at the expense of your movement. Their ability is this
It seems like we've seen nothing but Elden Ring enemies so far. We haven't seen like any Dark Souls type of enemy yet. Been nothing but Elden Ring mobs and
whirlwind
bosses.
attack, which seems to get rid of environmental effects like the Death Blight here, but moreover, its main function is to interrupt enemies, so that your teammates can get some damage in. In this way, the Guardian is a really strong melee
Oh
support
shit! It's like phalanx. It's carrying phalanx. How did he summon that?
character, acting as a tank, but also as a tank sort of support for other characters around you.
Huh.
Their ultimate too is very team-based, with this aerial dive bomb that is excellent
Oh, that's the ultimate. Interesting.
for reviving your teammates, because remember, you have to attack your teammates to revive them. This
You have to attack them to revive them. There's no like button, like animation, like you can revive them. You have to attack them to revive.
has a secondary effect, I'm pretty sure, of fortifying the teammates that are near
Oh,
the
cool. It actually gives them a damage debuff. Defense boost.
area of effect, giving them increased poise for a short time.
That's a cool animation too.
I make it sound like the Guardian is purely a support character, but that dive bomb will be excellent for clearing groups of small enemies as well, and accumulating runes from killing enemies and strengthening all of your characters and leveling up
Oh, should I have a guard boost? Oh, guard breaks them? Nice.
is a huge part of the game, so that kind of group clearing is a really good offensive capability as well. And speaking of
What hammer is that? Oh, that's the Great Horn Hammer. That's dog shit.
offensive capabilities, this is the Duchess, who was the character that I played the
Is that the Celebrant Sickle?
most in this demo. Her passive
It's a Celebrant Sickle.
is this sidestep dodge that's similar to the blood.
Is it the same? It looks like the same power sensing animation.
Who was the character
as the
that I
regular
played the
daggers?
most in this demo. Her passive is this sidestep dodge.
It is. It's the same dagger power sensing animation.
It's similar to the Bloodborne dodge, making her very well suited for anyone who prefers a more aggressive playstyle. Her ability recharges extremely fast, like you can use it every 10 seconds or so, and it's a sort of stopwatch themed ability which takes into account the last few seconds of damage that that enemy has taken and duplicates it. This effect is shown by a white spirit that appears.
Oh, that's so cool.
Sort of shows the damage that...
So if you like have like burst damage, I wonder if that works with critical attack. So if before you get like a stance break, get a critical attack, then use that skill, will they end up taking that critical attack damage twice over?
is being duplicated. Because you're so aggressive, the Duchess naturally gets a lot of aggro, but this is offset by her dodge, but also by her ultimate, which is a cloaking spell that cloaks you and your nearby allies, making you way less likely to get aggro and just
oh damn, that is like base, that is like 100% invisible. That's crazy.
Enabling a few different things within the context of the game. For example, you can use it before a fight to get the jump on enemies. You can use it in the middle of the...
That's broken. I want to see how long like the cooldowns are, but I know you can actually go ahead and there are ways to go get your abilities back faster, right? So.
Fight to disengage from enemies, or something that's especially good is using it to safely resurrect your teammates.
Oh, cool. I see now. So having like one ranged person on hand to be able to revive players. I wonder if you can like lock onto your players too. I don't know.
They get downed. So when you die in this
looks
game,
like it can. He looks like he's like strafing. Maybe you can only lock onto your downed enemies. Maybe when your enemies are downed, you can like lock onto them.
You fall to the ground, you crawl
the death's poker?
Extremely slowly, and a little circle appears above your head. This little circle is basically like a health bar that your teammates have to attack and deplete in order to resurrect you. The first time you're downed, you only have one of these purple bars, the second time you have two, and the third time you have three, meaning that every subsequent time you die, it's more risky for your teammates to try and resurrect you because they have to stand there hitting you while avoiding aggro for quite a long time. And with some of these bosses, avoiding aggro is not easy. These bosses will often be a three-part fight where you just have them on you the entire time. So resurrecting your teammates is definitely
This is a cool looking boss.
Tricky thing to pull off sometimes. It's also something that takes the damage you deal into account.
No.
So the more
Sit
damage
down.
you do, the faster you'll resurrect your teammates. And so now I think we should talk about how to make your character stronger, how to make you do more damage and take more damage and survive. Okay, so the footage they gave us is really quite good. It does a good job of showcasing things that are important to the game, but RP walking like this is not one of them. If you did this in game, your teammates will scream at you like, you don't have time to do this kind of thing. You are
a gold pickled foul foot and boiled prawns. Ow, stop fucking biting me.
And items and stats as fast
the
as you
tree
can.
spear, Royal Knight's Resolve, improved charged heavy attacks. What, a tree spear that can have, that can come with Royal Knight Resolve? That's basically just the Messmer Soldier Spear. Interesting. Improved charged heavy attacks. Or charge attacks. Is this how the items are going to be on the ground? So you actually can see what the items are at a distance. Instead of just being like a fucking circular ball. Like some circle orbs. To be like, what item is that? But now you can actually tell whether it's going to be like a weapon or not. That's pretty cool. Nice quality of life feature. Love to see it. Interesting.
Because you also have to think about where to go next, and yeah, it's just crazy. So, a big part of skill expression is being able to look at a...
The Great Omen Killer Cable with Crag Blade. Improved lightning damage negation. Minimum level 3. So there's going to be requirements, but it's based on just your level. It doesn't have to be like specific things. Attack. That's the only stat that is attack.
A weapon and saying, okay.
Oh shit, is this the HUD? Is your inventory? Same like, that's a different sword. That's Knight Rider's Glaive. That looks like the Naga Kiba. And a Lazuli Glintstone sword. These are probably like the buffs that you've accumulated, probably based on your armor or whatnot.
Okay, this suits my build. Okay, I'm gonna work towards this, or I'm gonna leave this.
The Wilder's Greatsword, that's what it was called.
But then saying, okay, this suits my build. Okay, I'm gonna...
Sacred Knight Rider's Glaive. I don't know what the fuck that means. Ishujin? The Guardian Grief. Okay, so some weapons actually come with like passive buffs. They're probably just like HP buff. Improved incantations.
Work towards this.
Stamp Upward Cut on the Wilder's Greatsword. Not even a unique skill. wonder if you can actually change Ashes of War. Maybe you can have like the ability to change. Maybe this is all RNG. Like every single weapon comes with its own like passive skill, and like a special effect. And it's probably based on rarity. This seems like it's a white rarity, so there's not going to be a second effect. But like this one's a blue rarity, so it has multiple effects.
Or I'm gonna leave this one behind. Or
but that one's white and has a multiple effect too. So I don't know.
I'm gonna give this one
Who
to a
knows?
teammate. That sort of thing. And a part of what makes this...
I wonder if you can like ping things as well. Oh, it still is white. So I wonder what that other shit was. Maybe when you open up a chest. I don't know. When there's multiple items on the ground, maybe? That's probably what it is. When you open... I don't know. What the fuck is that weapon? Well, but what if you can like ping items or like stuff? I don't know.
So much simpler than Elden Ring, but also...
It's like a weird war pick.
So much more complex.
Oh, I see what it is. So you interact with it and it spawns out the things. That's cool. So every single like body or item actually won't be just one singular one. Long half axe with a kick. Improved chain attack finishes, 10%. Hopefully the chain attack finishes is not like the twin blade talisman, and hopefully actually boost charged heavy attack follow-up attacks too. That'd be pretty cool.
Is that...
Looks like the Lost Throne? Kinda.
Yes, weapons have been...
Kinda looks like the Arc Drake Mace in Dark Souls too.
Simplified.
Like
in the
smaller, I
sense
guess.
that they have one number...
Finger seal. Okay, so the weapon actually comes innate with the actual spells. But it says it can hold up to 4 spells, so I wonder like what buttons it would be. So if you have like a seal equipped, would you just be able to click like L1 for one spell, L2 for another spell? I wonder how like tedious it'll be. I don't know, whatever even explains it.
But associated with the damage that...
Improved item discovery. Okay, what's he saying?
Like, you don't have time to do this kind of thing. You are evaluating weapons and items and stats as fast as you can, because you also have to think about where to go next, and yeah, it's just crazy. So a big part of skill expression is being able to look at a weapon and saying, okay, this suits my build. Okay, I'm going to work towards this, or I'm going to leave this one behind, or I'm going to give this one to a teammate.
So I guess you probably can't be able to like hold things in like a storage. You probably can only like hold the stuff that you can equip. So you can probably hold like 2 weapons at a time. So...
that sort of thing. And a part of what makes this so much simpler than Elden Ring, but also so much more complex, is that, yes, weapons have been simplified in the sense that they have one number associated with the damage they do, and it's quite clear if they inflict a status effect like Scarlet Rot. It's obvious if you've played the base game which skill is tied to the weapon, but what makes this so much more complex is that every single piece of equipment now comes with passive buffs that affect your character even if the weapon isn't actually in your hand. So you have 6 weapon slots in this game, and you want to fill every single one of them because every weapon will confer a different passive buff that will affect the main weapon that you have in your hand. So say...
So part of the reason why this game is probably not going to be as good in single player use, because you could probably have like other teammates like hold shit for you sometimes. If they have like a spare slot, it's like, hold this for me. I want to use it later.
For example, these 3 armaments drop for you. Which ones would you take with you? If you're playing a melee character, the tree spear might be great.
Which one would I pick?
What's going on,
if I had to pick one,
gang?
I picked the tree spear. They're actually all pretty good though. Braggets or a Nagakiba. Although the heavy attack sucks. But you guys like one-handed though. You don't benefit of the brackets for a weapon or heavy attack changes one-handed, but you got nice damage boost and damage negation. Well, the Great Omen Killer Cleaver with Cragblade. They're all pretty good. All good.
Because it actually has a really good charge attack, and it increases the damage that charge attacks do. So you might want to base your build more around a charge attack playstyle. Or if you have the Duchess on your team, you might want to grab the Bleed weapon, because Bleed seems to synergize really well with the stopwatch ability that duplicates damage.
Oh yeah, true. You could duplicate the status effects. True. So you could proc a status effect, then use the stopwatch, and then true, yeah.
Being able to spot these synergies in an instant and try to make your build on the fly was a really big part of what made this game so fun to me. You should also be evaluating consumables, because you can only carry 4 stacks of any one consumable at any one time.
4 stacks.
And consumables are really good now. Firebombs are now handheld nukes that can be thrown in midair, and weapon buffs can be
throwing firebombs mid-air? No way.
to any weapon, and they're powerful, so bear that in mind. Another thing that's really important is
the map. Looks like it's like the Limgrave map, but it's like slightly. So it's called Limveld, so it's probably just the exact same thing as like the entirety of Limgrave, but just like reskinned. Different structures or whatnot. And you probably like teleport to other areas like that one where you fight that dog. Who knows what the fuck's that gonna be? Move camera? Oh shit. That's no, hide the camera. There you go.
Ideally, you'll have someone on your team who's really good at quickly evaluating where it will be best to go next. There are a lot of important landmarks in this game, and many of them...
The grace was like very bright. You can see the grace from a while away.
Will be recognizable
long time.
Multiple sessions. For example, you see that black rise off to the right
oh,
there?
Shit.
So if you solve...
So there's trees you can summon the bird?
The puzzle and make your way to the top, you'll get a choice of 3 armaments and or buffs to choose from, which usually is a reward that's exclusive to when you kill bosses in this game. So basically every landmark has a boss within it, but some have interesting things as well, like we're currently diving down to Kenneth Heights Castle, which showed up a few times for us in our run, and inside this room there was a map on the table, and when you interact with the map, it actually reveals points of interest that usually wouldn't be marked on the map. For example, the locations of these silver scarab beetles would show up, and whenever we defeated one of these, a talisman would drop. Each character has 2 talisman slots, and being able to loot a talisman
the Church of
usually
Ella
was a really big power spike for one member of our team. And I don't have footage of it, but Kenneth Heights map also revealed...
It's funny just like seeing reskinned Limgrave. It just feels like it's like you're looking at a mod.
The location of merchants on the map, and these merchants were always next to a smithing table, and they always sold one type of smithing stone, which would have allowed you to level up your weapon. This is probably a really important mechanic to interact with if you find a merchant, because weapons have different rarities as well, which
long and hard.
Mentioned. There's a common level 1 rarity, there's a rare blue level 3 rarity, there's an epic purple level 9 rarity.
Epic and purple?
We only found 2 of these, but there is a legendary rarity as well. That requires you to be level 12 to equip it.
Interesting.
I'll admit there were runs where I was like, ah man, we didn't get any good loot that run. Like, we didn't find that many epics or legendaries, and that could be a bit frustrating. However, I suspect that the merchants and their smithing tables will be a way to consistently upgrade a weapon that might be common, but it might have a really good buff that you want. And so I think upgrading weapons could be a way.
So that could be the problem sometimes with like the roguelikes. There were times like you really want to use like a certain build, like you find a really fun build to use, and then like the run just like ends, you just fuck up, and like the next run you have like dog shit RNG, and you have like just the worst weapons. And you're like, well, that was just terrible. But like the good thing is like every single playthrough is going to be different, so it makes it feel less repetitive. But we'll see. I wonder if it gets pretty tedious, it's like just doing nothing but just like running around all the time. Like if I go to run around try and find loot instead of just like actually killing shit. Because it feels like it's I don't know, from the gameplay here, it seems like a lot of like empty areas. And it's like open world as well. Whereas like typically like, I don't know, we'll see. See what it's like. I'm gonna watch everyone's videos. I'm gonna watch Iron Pineapples, I'll watch Ouroboros, I even watch fucking PC Gamer as well. Why not?
To sort of smooth out the randomness of the game. At the end of every day, you face a major boss. So there were 4 different types we could face in this demo, and they were all very difficult, especially the ones that split into multiple versions of themselves or...
See, that's going to be why like solo play is just not going to be... I don't think solo play is going to be valid. I think it's just going to be purely based around multiplayer. People are going to complain about this a lot. Because, you know, you're trying to sell this to also a single player audience. I don't know.
Multiple ads that you had to deal with, because that required everyone in your team to fulfill a role, and the strategy
you played on Friday? Yeah, well.
You use against these bosses will play a huge part in your success. For example, we had someone on our team who was not as familiar with Elden Ring, So they ended up
Someone
taking
on their team not familiar with Elden Ring. Why wasn't I invited? I could have got to play with Vardy.
a tanking role where they kind of held up their shield and tried their best to keep aggro rather than
I'm
dealing
mad.
damage. And they did a great job of that. That worked really well because they could do something like distract the demi-human queen all by themselves, while me and a more competent player were able to DPS this demi-human swordsman down and then go back and help the tank with the one they were aggroing. There were strategies for every boss like this, and I really enjoyed coming up with ways to defeat these bosses on the fly and accounting for things that went wrong within the fight.
It's Loretta's Warsicle. Knight repulsed. Repulsed.
So what you're seeing here is the end of day one, where they've defeated the major boss, and now they get to
He's
claim
frostbitten.
a reward. Like many rewards in this game, it's a choice between...
Oh shit, cool. That's kind of traditional roguelike. You just beat the first level, then like, here you go, pick an added ability. Extends spell effect duration. Increases sorcery incantation duration by 30%. So that's pretty cool. Poison and rot trigger continuous HP recovery. Poisoning or rot, or scarlet rot in vicinity continuously restores HP. That's pretty cool. So proccing status effect and staying near them is gonna give you HP regen. Flask slowly restores HP. So it just gives you more health.
Between 3 different options. Sometimes it was a choice between permanent effects and buffs for your character, sometimes weapons, sometimes both, and again you have to make a really split-second decision on what is best for you and your team. And then at the end of the day, the Nightreign recedes, and you can go out and explore again. But
the Nightreign.
I'm pretty sure everything you killed on day 1 stays dead on day 2, so it was important to keep progressing around the map and finding new places to explore.
Interesting. Day 2.
Eventually, everything culminates in
Damn.
this.
That's a cool-ass skybox. That looks nice.
Your final fight against the chosen Night Lord that you set out to face when you left the Round Table Hold.
The chosen Night Lord.
The final boss was called Tricephalus, a
Tricephalus?
three-headed hound that periodically would split into 3 parts, one for each member of your group. It's in this boss fight and boss fights like this that you realize Nightreign really was designed for 3 people. Yes, they probably could have designed enemies so that they scaled with the amount of people in your party, but there's something to be said for not compromising on your boss design around that fact. You know, these bosses feel like they were designed to be taken on with 3 people, and everyone in your party is supposed to have a different role in these fights as a result. So, that's Nightreign. I mean, I could go on about all the different little things I've discovered, but I don't have footage for it right now, so I think I'll just give you my thoughts on the game. Obviously, somewhat biased. I run a From Software YouTube channel. You have to take what I say with a grain of salt, but I really did have so much fun.
Based statement right there. Absolutely based.
Playing this. In retrospect, I was a bit wrong about my analysis of the game previously, because previously a big point I mentioned was that, you know, Nightreign will allow you to get immersed in this ever-changing world and take in the scenery and just enjoy like a first playthrough of Elden Ring again. This isn't that. Like, you don't have time to appreciate this world sometimes. Instead, that feeling is replaced with this rush to explore and get stronger and overcome difficulty, and when your build comes together just right and that allows you to kill even more bosses even faster and get even stronger, it's a great feeling.
What's going on?
Over
I cannot believe I didn't get invited. Will Nightreign be a video game? It looks like it.
the course of our play session, you know, we finally had one run where everything came together perfectly. We got the items we wanted, we managed to execute our strategies perfectly, and we finally faced off against the final boss and managed to take it down. If you have a friend or 2 who are into Elden Ring as well, and you think you can all team up and take on this game together, I think it's going to be like one of the best co-op experiences you've ever had. My main
Wow.
concerns with this game come from the fact that, you know, if you don't have someone else to play this with, will this game still be great played with randoms or played by yourself?
I feel like with random it's gonna be awful. I feel like it's gonna be a very big thing. There'll be like a bunch of like websites going around, so we're like trying to find, you know, like looking for group pages and stuff. There'll be a lot of that. I have a whole like dedicated channel in my Discord for that. There'll be a lot of that though, because I feel like playing with randoms is just be awful, especially if like people will be like griefing or like just throwing on purpose, or like people being AFK. They'll be like, it'll be pretty shit.
Myself, I'm not as sure of that, and I think come the network test in a couple of days, people aren't going to have that many friends to play with who also got into the network test, and so I think some of the feedback might be more negative because of that, but
that's true.
As it stands, everyone I know had a blast playing this together.
Rusty got invited. I didn't get invited. Why?
Especially side by side in the same room with other people. It was just...
Why wasn't I there side by side in the same room? I'm mad.
And unforgettable.
Like, I probably like some random Australians got invited to like the Sydney fucking Bondi. I could have been playing with Vardy. Or at least I got invited to play the Shadow of the Erdtree one. Unless I got a code, but they didn't invite me.
Experience. The other thing I'm curious about is when the full game releases, how random will the maps be? In this demo build of the game, again, we could only play one of 2 maps, but...
Oh, there's 2 maps? Okay, cool.
We've kind of been led to believe that maps will be somewhat procedurally generated and that they'll stitch together different zones, and yeah, the demo had 2 maps seemingly that you could explore, and over the course of our session and over the course of the network test when people play
had
this,
no FP.
they're going to...
Why do they showcase this gameplay? He has no FP with his death poker.
Start figuring out these maps and understanding the best route through, and it will become familiar to them, which I don't think is the intended experience for Nightreign. I suspect in the full game, and I hope in the full game, maps are really, really randomized, and no 2 playthroughs are the same, so that's definitely something I'm going to be looking for in the full release. Anyway, I hope this video helped you understand more about the game. I'll be
Thank you, Vati.
Playing the network test and recording our experiences, and I might make a video on that as well, so subscribe, stay tuned. Thank you to Bandai for flying me out and giving me this experience.
Wait, flying him out? Oh, that's why. Actually, there probably wasn't one in Sydney. He said flying him out. So he probably got flew out to America to play it. So that's probably why they didn't get me there. That makes sense. Well, I'm less mad now. I'm less upset. Well, that makes sense. There wasn't going to be one. I don't understand why you want to sit on my lap, and then you're on my lap for like 10 seconds, then you get off, and then you want to get back on my lap again. Is that why you timed me out this morning because you were grumpy? I don't know. Time people out for no reason sometimes. But I was upset. Even Fextra Life got to play. That's fine. Okay. Whose video we're gonna watch next? Let's go watch Iron Pineapples. This is a 30-minute
Recently,
video.
I got the chance to play Elden Ring Nightreign early at a hands-on preview event hosted in Vegas. In case you missed it,
Hosted in
Nightreign is
Vegas.
the next game From Software is releasing. And according to them, it's a, quote, co-op action survival game. What is it really? It's essentially Elden Ring remixed into an action roguelike for 3 players, where each run sees you fighting enemies and collecting loot in a shrinking Fortnite.
Nightreign is garbage and you deserve what you get. What?
Esque circle.
You haven't played it
When the
yet.
circle fully shrinks, you're forced into a nighttime boss fight. The game has you fighting Elden Ring enemies and bosses, but you'll also encounter bosses from past Dark Souls games occasionally too, like the Nameless King. If you make it to day 3, you get to fight one of the 8 Night Lord final bosses, and winning here
One of
equals
8?
a successful run. I was unfortunate.
8 Night Lord bosses.
Unfortunately, not allowed to record my own footage at the event, but I was given 17 minutes of B-roll, showcasing a good chunk of the experience. Now, I do have a lot of opinions about my time playing the game, but first let's go over all the footage in sequential order, as I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what to expect from the gameplay loop. I'll interject with my thoughts along the way, and save some of my bigger opinions and critiques for the end. Each run begins with a short cutscene of your chosen Nightfarers walking toward a cliff before running to catch a lift from a spectral hawk. There will be 8 characters to choose from in the full game, but there are only 4 in the demo, and I'll talk about what each one can do as they appear. Next,
8
you're
characters.
thrust into the game with an aerial view of the map as you glide down on your hawk, kind of like a Fortnite glider.
Where we dropping, boys? Where we going?
Though you don't have control over where you get to land. The game forces you to drop off.
That's it for Elden Ring DLC after this. There's not going to be anything Elden Ring DLC related at all now.
From the spot it's chosen near the edge of the map. It's pretty odd that you can't choose where to land or influence the flight of the bird, because I think it'd be pretty fun to have more agency over where to start. But hey,
Wait, you see, since you can't decide where you drop? Is that what you said?
Next, you're thrust into the game with an aerial view of the map as you glide down on your hawk, kind of like a Fortnite glider. Though you don't have control over where you get to land. The game forces you to drop off in the spot it's chosen near the edge of the map.
I see now. Okay, so you're not allowed to pick where you go. The game's like, you're going this way, whether you like it or not.
It's pretty odd that you can't choose where to land or influence the flight of the bird, because I think it'd be pretty fun to have more agency over where to start. But hey, that's just me. Also, the text Day 1 pops up on the screen because, you guessed it, it's Day 1. As I already mentioned, the game is split into 3 days, where you explore during the day and fight a boss at
1 day in Nightreign is 1 day in real life.
night. Each day is somewhere
Make it
between
happen.
10 to 15 minutes long. I didn't time it, but I'm pretty sure it's within that range.
So it'll be 8 classes for the base game, and the DLC will probably add more. We just don't know how many more, but there's going to be a DLC, yeah.
Upon landing, you have a few different choices on where to go, but these players chose to go after the nearest enemy camp, something my group often did as well. This also gives us our first look at Wilder, the Strength Dexterity Knight, and his grapple hook ability. As you can see, it pulls small enemies closer, but when used on
He got interrupted of a greatsword light attack. That's cringe.
larger ones, Wilder's launch toward them instead. Each character has one unique ability like this that's on a short cooldown. There's normally a big icon at the bottom of the screen that displays the ability and lets you know when it's available to use. Also, this is pointing out the obvious, but it's worth mentioning. This combat is literally Elden Ring. Like the animations, the enemies you're fighting, this is Elden Ring. Ultimately, this makes Nightreign feel like an ambitious fan mod for Elden Ring as opposed to a standalone product. And I don't mean that necessarily as a bad thing, but I do feel compelled to point this out because it's pretty core to the experience. After
It does look like a mod.
This been a peek, bro.
Jesse,
I
thank you for the
can't wait.
donation.
Looks
Appreciate
so
it.
Cool.
W's for Jesse. Thank you.
After clearing the camp, the group runs toward the near site of Grace. This showcases the new Super Sprint, which is basically the normal sprint at double speed. This is mostly used for traversal because the map is big.
Say Super Sprint?
And Torrent's on vacation. You can also use it during combat, but it's tough to pull off because it'll drain your entire stamina bar almost instantly. Anyway, they run up to the site of Grace to replenish their healing flask and level up.
Okay, so there's probably still like no stamina consumption outside of combat, so that's cool.
Each run with 3 flasks, and each site of Grace will refill them all. Sites of Grace are also where you can level up using the runes you acquire from enemies and bosses, just like Elden Ring. However, unlike Elden Ring, there isn't a way to pick and choose stats. Instead, you just click the big level up button, and you'll simply be stronger with extra damage, health, and FP. I'm a little mixed on this, as I think it's a missed opportunity to provide the player with a choice on how to build their character, but it does fit the theme of the game with them wanting to keep things quick and streamlined. So maybe it's for the best. Regardless, leveling up is important, as the boost in damage from level 1 to level 2 is quite noticeable.
Hold up.
More damage means enemies die faster, and in this game, speed is everything. Next, we see the player attack a group of demi-humans, and they do this by throwing a
Weenie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, man. I was also at this event. Were you?
firebomb. So yes, consumable.
8 seems kind of meh. Well, being that you have like 8 classes that all have different abilities, and all while being able to like equip any weapon, you know? Like Elden Ring doesn't have any classes. Like you have starting classes, but they don't change anything. You don't have separate abilities for every single class. The starting classes only affect what you start off the game with, and your stats, your base stats. That's it. Like you can still very well go with like a strength build if you start off with like a faith starting class. So whereas this one, you kind of like, you know, it's an actual class. So I think 8's okay. They could have very well just had no classes, but I don't mind having a class system. I'm kind of curious to see, like, it seems like you can only select certain types of weapons for certain types of classes. So it's like you can go pick up, but then again, he mentioned that the Duchess could go ahead and pick up the Great Axe, and the Duchess was typically like starting off with the daggers, right? So I don't know what that is about.
such as firebombs are a thing in Nightreign, and you begin each run with 4 inventory slots to hold different types of consumables. You can also see that the player broke some glowing crates, which dropped additional consumables for them to pick up. Between your inventory being very limited and finding plenty of extra consumables, you're
Each slot can't hold large stacks. For example, 2 firebombs take up a whole slot. So if you wanted to hold 2 more firebombs, it would take up another slot.
heavily encouraged to use these whenever you have a chance. After this, the group encounters a golem, and I believe it counts as a mini-boss. Mini-bosses are scattered across the map, and you'll know you're fighting one because a boss health bar will appear at the bottom of the screen. Upon defeat, the mini-boss will drop a purple soul, and this rewards each player with the choice between 3 upgrades, ranging from a new weapon to a permanent passive boost. Examples of the passives I saw were a slight increase to stamina regen, or a slight increase to damage reduction. And to be clear, all 3 players get their own reward from the 1 purple soul. This next clip showcases...
So is it the same rewards that everyone gets, or I don't know, will every single one be randomized?
New wall climbing mechanic. When you press jump while sprinting toward a wall, your character will automatically run up the wall and then mantle over the ledge. This is sick. It adds an additional layer of verticality to the map, and it can be fun figuring out how to get from point A to point B, since sometimes you'll have to use the wall climb in slightly creative ways. At the top of this church, the player finds some loot on a body and inside a box. Important to note is that all loot you find like this is classified as community loot, meaning that every member of the team can see it, but only one person can take each item. This is also our first look at the different armaments you can find. Each weapon and shield has a built-in Ash of War, and each spellcasting catalyst has 2 different spells. So yes, in this game, the spells you cast are attached directly to the catalyst. Each armament also comes with a built-in passive effect, such as extra damage on combo finishers, additional item discovery, or HP restoration upon attacks.
I was kind of wishing that like it was more streamlined, not streamlined, but like more focused around the classes themselves. Because it feels like this way, like any character can go ahead and play like any weapon, right? So like this person starting off with this class can go ahead and pick up a seal and start using spells. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know.
These are mostly small background bonuses, but what's interesting is that each of these passive effects applies to your character even if the armament isn't actively being used. As long as it's equipped, you get the effect. This means that you always want to have 6 armaments equipped, especially because equip load isn't something you need to worry about in this game. You'll always be fast.
Oh, really? You actually gain the effect even if you just have it in your inventory? So like this improved lightning attack power, I can just have it equipped in my inventory and then I gain the passive effect? Is that what you said?
Upon attacks. These are mostly small background bonuses, but what's interesting is that each of these passive effects applies to your character even if the armament isn't actively being used. As long as it's equipped, you get the effect. This means that you always
as long as it's equipped. I think that means like if is it sitting in your inventory or actually being sitting in your hands? Actively being used. I don't know what that means. It probably just means sitting in your inventory.
6 armaments equipped, especially because equip load isn't...
Should I added PvP to this game? I think if you add PvP to this game, you have to balance it around PvP as well. The good thing is, like, this is going to be like the first, you know, type of Souls combat game that they're making, so they don't have to worry about balancing PvP as well. So they can just, like, they can just make the game as, like, you know, crazy as they want to. They can make all the weapons or abilities and shit just go super hard. It seems like the combat's basically the same as Elden Ring. So if you want to have PvP, then you just go play Elden Ring, right? I don't know. Because I feel like it'd just be like, I don't know. Who knows?
Something you need to worry about in this game. You'll always be fast rolling. This is also our first look at blue colored loot. This indicates that it's more rare, and the rarity goes from white to blue to purple to orange. Next, we catch a glimpse of the map screen, and this should give you a better idea of the scope of each run. The map itself is an island, and on the edge, you can see the Fortnite circle closing in. Just like Fortnite, instead of constantly getting smaller, there are intervals where it doesn't move at all. I won't go over all the icons on the map, but basically, these show you where most of the points of interest are, like enemy camps or fortresses. You can then pin on the map where you want to go, which is useful because the other players will be able to see your pin and know where you're going. Also worth noting is that some things...
A PvP-centered Souls would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool if they make a whole PvP dedicated game. But they could very well make like a PvP like update for this thing, but they'll have to like have different, like having like different classes or something like that would be pretty cool.
Are hidden on the map, so it's possible you'll find something good even if it's not marked from the start. Between this and the marked points of interest, you probably won't have time to...
The movesets are better, the dagger moveset is so much better. I mean, I looked at that dagger moveset, it looked like the same thing as the regular power stance dagger moveset, no?
To do everything, so you have to make quick decisions.
Let's like you show me like a little bit of gameplay from Vardy's video at least. I don't know.
On where to go and what to skip. Next, we see Wilder use his grapple hook to get a little extra speed when running around. It's tough to see here, but this.
There's already a DLC. Yeah, there's DLC confirmed. Yeah. The funny thing, Elden Ring was the only game to where there wasn't actually like a DLC confirmed before like the game got released. I'm pretty sure like every game that From Software made. They just announced the DLC like when the game got released, or when the announced the game's release date at least. Because I'm pretty sure they sold Dark Souls 3 with a season pass that gave you both DLCs. We just didn't know the names of the DLCs, but you could actually buy them beforehand. So Elden Ring was like the only one to where it was like a year later they're like, okay, we're gonna have a DLC, and like a year after that it's released. It was like a really weird circumstance, but yeah, this one is, I guess, they're returning back to what they used to do.
Instead of grappling the boss, it might be worth grappling the ground to reposition. We then see Wilder take on another mini-boss, the Leonine Misbegotten, and he initiates the fight with a big fire explosion. This is Wilder's ultimate ability, so unlike the grapple hook, which is on a short cooldown, it's usually a minute or two between uses of the ultimate, and I believe dealing damage increases the speed it fills up. Wilder then lands a critical hit, and this is a good time to point out that some of the weapon animations have been changed. So the Greatsword moveset, for example, is a bit different. It feels a little faster and more aggressive, which is well suited for the faster pace of Nightreign. This fight also gives us a look at Wilder's unique passive ability, something each character has. Once per run, you can cheat death. The first time you get hit by an attack that would kill you, there's a flash of white followed by a quick dive.
Yeah, we saw that already.
You shouldn't have. Finally, Wilder's group shows up. But, oh no, one of his teammates goes down. So in Nightreign, instead of dying immediately, you enter a down state where you can crawl around. Not to keep bringing up Fortnite, but it's like Fortnite. However, unlike Fortnite, to revive your teammate, you actually want to attack them. After dealing enough damage, they pop right back up. The HUD for reviving looks something like this in-game. A ring split into 3 equal sections above your ally's head. This ring represents how much damage you need to deal to bring your friend back. The first time they go down, only one section needs to be depleted, but each subsequent death adds another section. Seconds to get revived.
We saw about that already.
If your friends fail to get you, you'll lose a level and respawn at the last site of grace you touched.
Respawn the last side of grace. It's probably like a timer. It's cool.
This won't end a run, but it's still a pretty brutal punishment given how important levels are. Next, we have some footage of another Nightfarer, the Guardian. This bird person is the tank of the cast, with the most HP and a more defensive playstyle. Their active ability is a whirlwind that knocks small enemies up and staggers big enemies. They also have a special defensive stance they can enter. Seems to
Hey, he's poking with a Knight Rider's glaive one-handed. It's a different moveset.
Increase the stamina you lose when blocking attacks.
That wasn't a shield. We can't shield poke with halberds. I don't know what that was. Maybe it's like he can shield poke with every weapon, because he was like a tank.
And not an ability on cooldown, so you can use it whenever you want. Most importantly though, they have a sick-ass dive bomb ultimate that lets them crash down for massive damage. This also showcases one of the best things about the revive mechanic. You can simultaneously hit enemies while reviving your teammates, and the dive bomb is probably the best example of why that's useful. They don't show it here, but if you keep holding down the ultimate button after landing your dive bomb, you remain crouched down with your weapon in the ground, and this provides a defensive buff to yourself and nearby allies for up to 10 seconds if you keep holding it. I also think you're immune to step daggers and take heavily reduced damage while holding this stance. The next clip shows off the Fortnite circle. It takes the form of a blue ring of fire. If you find
it's like the Fortnite circle.
On yourself outside the circle, you slowly take damage over time. Believe it or not, as much as everyone, myself included, keeps joking about the Fortnite comparisons, I think the time pressure this circle adds is one of the more compelling parts of the gameplay loop. Basically, it encourages you to play efficiently. You don't just want to clear the camp full of enemies, you want to do it fast. And then it makes the moments in between fights interesting too, because you gotta make quick decisions on where to go and how to get there. This is fun, and pretty distinct from playing Elden Ring. Speaking of how to get places, one way to do that is by making use of slipstreams. These function pretty much identically to Spirit Springs in Elden Ring, and they allow you to super jump into the air.
Slipstreams, is that what they said?
In Elden Ring, and they're still fun here. And it's cool how you can...
Everyone forgot about PUBG? Yeah. I mean, H1Z1 did it first, right? Wasn't it? But yeah, it was Fortnite. Fortnite's a good game, though.
Sometimes use them to reach the top of structures they might not have been intended for. Up ahead, the group finds...
Will Nightreign have the most weapons from the base game? I have no idea what Nightreign weapons, but it seems like we saw a lot of stuff. So like I say, the Knight Rider's glaive, I saw a forked greatsword, I saw a fucking Celebrant sickle. I didn't see... I saw like a couple of unique ones, like the Wilder's greatsword or something, but... Same far, like from all the gameplay that we've seen, has been nothing but Elden Ring enemies, Elden Ring bosses and mini-bosses, and Elden Ring weapons. Even, I think we saw like... The only thing that we saw that was different was like the abilities. Even like some of the spells look the same, so...
America. If you collect the item inside...
Why does every spot look like Limgrave and Leonia? It's Reskin's Limgrave. Like, it's basically a Limgrave map. It's like the exact same model. They just like added some different structures there or changed up some of the design. It's literally Limgrave. The area's called Limveld, so...
It upgrades the maximum usage for Healing Flask by 1. Every church like this will have this upgrade, so you can always plan ahead and stop at 1. Next, the group finds a scarab to kill. This is an example of one of the many useful things you can find that might not be marked on the map. These guys always drop a talisman you can equip, and these talismans...
That was an interesting offhand up. He has an offhand up.
Seem to function identically to how they do in Elden Ring. The passive boost they...
What's that offhand sword? Did he like switch something? Because he used his grapple hook and he switched to a sword. That's a new looking sword.
Must be substantial. We then have some more camp clearing gameplay, though these enemies are tougher than the ones at the start. This clip also gives us a better look at the Guardian's whirlwind move and how it can knock enemies up. One significant change from Elden Ring also gives
Was that
us
like
better
a
look
passive ability that is used? Because he didn't have a what do you call it? A staff equipped,
Guardian's
and then it just
whirlwind
summons. It just summons a carrion phalanx. Was that like an ability that like the mage person used?
and how it can knock enemies.
Because there's a bow and arrow equipped. Unless this guy's a passive that does that, I don't know. Or an ability, I don't know.
One significant change from Elden Ring is...
Wasn't that D sword? It looked a bit more fat than D sword, no? It looked a bit like more chunky. Was that wrong?
We then have some more camp to how they do in Elden Ring. The passive...
It looks more chunky, no?
The boost they give can sometimes be...
Yeah, I don't think that's... I don't know. D sword is pretty fat. Maybe it is.
Substantial. We then have some more camp clearing gameplay when knocked down, and this is especially useful for moves like the whirlwind attack if your teammates follow up. Also, notice how the magic swords of Carrion Phalanx appear over Wilder's head without him casting a spell. I believe this is an example of a passive upgrade he got from a mini-boss.
Oh, I see. So that was a passive upgrade. Okay. So like I was... Okay. He explained it.
The way this one works is that every 30 seconds or so, these swords will appear over your head for free damage. Next, we get another grapple shot clip. And yes, it can be used to break the guard of an enemy using a shield. The group then finds an underground passage leading to a treasure room, and this gives us another look at the loot system. Once again, this is community loot, and the players must share. You can also see that there are level requirements attached to weapons. Blue is level 3, purple is level 9, and orange is level 12. Remember, there aren't stat requirements like Elden Ring, and you just have one overall level. If you find a spectral tree, you can summon a spectral hawk to carry you across the map. These follow set paths, and the little floating spirits show you the general...
Okay, so it sets you... Okay. You can't aim any of these things. Cool.
Direction it'll take you. You can also see the path it'll take you on the map screen. What's cool about these spectral hawks, as opposed to the ones at the start of the match, is that you're given a little control in steering them. And when you want to land, you have more freedom on where exactly you want to touch down.
Oh, you can control them. Okay, cool.
This is also our first look at the third character, the Duchess. She's basically the nimble rogue archetype of the group.
Where's the Bloodhound's Fang? I haven't noticed that. Is that the sword that we're seeing?
Also find a treasure map on a desk in this fort, and this reveals the locations of more points of interest on the map. Also, this location is literally fort height from Elden Ring, like one-to-one copy-paste. Not every location is like this, but some of them are, and it's incredibly trippy seeing iconic areas like the Gatefront ruins dropped into this remixed version of Limgrave. I'm not too bothered by this, but this is another example of ripping things straight off Elden Ring, and it plays a big role in this feeling like a well-made fan mod as opposed to a standalone game. Next, we get some proper Duchess gameplay and a look at her ability, Restage. This replays the damage an enemy or boss just took over the past 2 seconds, and as you can see...
That's a cool ability. That shit will fuck shit up. That'll just do amazing damage. The Celebrant Sickle of all the weapons.
It's especially impactful when it's paired with something like Wilder's Ultimate. For only being on a short cooldown, this is easily the strongest ability in the game. It's also a great example of...
That's the dagger moveset? That's the same thing as the base game. It's the power stance dagger moveset.
For only being on a short cooldown, this is easily the strongest ability in the game. It's also a great example of co-op...
The same thing.
Synergy and interactivity that
Wait for it.
isn't present in other
there's another one?
games. This clip also shows an important change to critical hits. In Elden Ring, bosses and enemies are immune to damage from teammates for the duration of someone landing a critical hit. But in Nightreign,
it's the same moveset.
That's no longer a restriction. However, I think bosses might take reduced damage from other hits during this window, so that's not too overpowered. One last thing to note about this clip, the Duchess's passive gives her a unique quick-step Bloodborne dodge that's noticeably faster than the other dodges. She also gets a cool little backflip if you dodge backwards twice.
I got a backflip? Cool.
Check out this dagger moveset, by the way. This is
that one.
Much different than Elden Ring and way faster. Definitely a fan of this change, and I can vouch that it feels great to use.
So what the fuck was the other one then?
She also gets a cool little...
Because that one's a base one. Is it because it's a specific weapon?
And way faster. Definitely a fan of this change, and I can vouch that it feels great to use. Next...
Okay.
Get to see the Duchess's ultimate, which applies invisibility to herself and the rest of the group. This is obviously useful when sneaking up on enemies, but I also found it useful even in the middle of a boss fight, because attacking doesn't seem to break stealth. You can still get hit, but yeah, it has its uses. Finally, we get to see
attacking doesn't break stealth? Interesting.
See the fourth character, the Recluse, aka the Spellcaster Witch. Big fan of her design, by the way.
Was it power stancing? Well, he was power stancing to the other one, so like... Maybe it was like a specific weapon that gave that moveset, like in Dark Souls 2, how like you power stance a certain type of weapon in that same class, it would just give a different moveset than Another one, because there's typically not a, what do you call it? There's no, like, unique power sensing combos in Elden Ring, typically. It's all like the same stuff.
And I already know this is going to be
Zali the Witch? Might be a reference to Zali the Witch, yeah. Not the YouTuber, but the actual Dark Souls NPC Zali the Witch.
Ellie's main. Like any good spellcaster, the first thing she does is jump off a cliff, and this demonstrates another cool change to Nightreign: no fall damage. The group then approaches an Everjail. To open it up, you'd find a stone sword key and then use it on the nearby stone imps. This then unlocks the boss fight. Next, we'd look at the Recluse's unique ability, Magic Cocktail, and it's probably the coolest ability in the game, but it's weirdly complicated, so buckle up for a long explanation. So when you hit an enemy with a spell, they get marked by the corresponding element. The 4 elements are magic, fire, lightning, and holy, and in this clip, the enemy gets marked with magic.
It's the same damage types, chat.
Then, when you use her ability, it sucks out the elemental mark. In addition to restoring FP, this also fills in one of the 3 circles on the ability icon with the element you just sucked up. You repeat this 2 more times until all 3 circles are filled up, at which point using it a 4th time will expend the elemental icons and cast a special spell. Now here's the crazy part. The Magic Cocktail spell is unique and depends on the combination of elements you absorbed. So like, magic, magic, magic is different than magic, magic, fire is different than magic, fire, lightning. Since there are 4 different elements, this results in 14 different potential spells you can cast baked into just one ability. And you kind of have to remember.
So that gravitational one that we saw is probably just specific to that one thing. So he has 14 different spells for its ability. That's pretty cool. They're probably end up being like 1 or 2 like really good ones and be like try and play around that.
Remember them because they have different ranges and uses. Hell, some of them don't even deal damage. Fire, Fire, Holy, for example, creates a healing aura for yourself.
Fire, Fire, Holy creates a healing aura? That's really cool. That's high skill ceiling type shit. Are anyone really excited about this? Yes. I'm excited about it too. Or no, yes, but no. I'm excited about it as well.
From nearby teammates. But the fun doesn't end there. Not only can you suck elemental marks out of enemies from the spells you cast, you can also suck them out of elemental damage your teammates deal. For example, here Wilder uses a fire attack on the boss. This applies the fire mark, and the Recluse is able to suck the fire right out. And
that's so cool.
Guess what? The damage your teammates take also counts. So if a teammate gets hit by a fire attack, you can lock onto them and suck it out the same way you would for an enemy. So yeah, this kind of kicks ass, and it's super fun seeing a needlessly complex move put into a game like this. The Recluse also has a pretty useful ultimate. It's called Song of the Blood Soul, and it marks all nearby enemies with a blood icon. Hitting a marked enemy will restore HP and FP, and your teammates can hit them too for the same effect. Lastly,
oh wow,
the Recluse has a unique dodge animation where she floats around. I like how elegant it is, and I feel like it perfectly fits her design. Next up, we see the group running through some mines.
It's still a bit weird how like any enemy or any class can play with any weapon. I thought it was gonna be like specific weapons they could only play with. Might be a bit annoying when you get like shitty RNG and be like, oh, I can't use this thing because I don't have the class for it. But it feels weird like this this mage class can go ahead and just pick up like a fucking ultra greatsword or something.
I like how elegant it is, and I feel like it perfectly fits her design. Next up, we see the group running through some mines, and shout out to FromSoft for sending us all this hand-picked footage, yet leaving in a T-posing miner. No, hey, genuinely funny that slipped through. Anyway, yeah, you can find mines like this during runs, but when I was playing, I felt like these were too out of the way to be worth it given the time pressure. Plus, I didn't find anything super useful inside. Maybe they'll change though, or maybe I missed something. We then get a look at a camp full of flame chariots. When I was playing with my group, we made the mistake of heading to this camp at the very start. This is not a level 1 area. These guys are tough. If only there was a way to reach the weak spot on the top of their head. Oh wait, you can use the new wall climbing ability to jump up and hit it for free. I wish I was aware of this during my play session, but hey, now we both know. Next, we see the group take on a dragon boss fight. Not much
what the
to
fuck
say
was that
here,
gravity spell?
But hey, now we both know. Next, we see the group.
That's not that's not blades of stone or nothing. That's a unique spell.
Take on a dragon boss.
Who did that? That might be like one of the, I don't know.
Not much to say here, as we've seen most of this stuff already, but pay attention to the time of day. As it slowly changes to nighttime, that's your cue that you should start wrapping up whatever you're doing, because the circle begins to rapidly shrink at this point. You can see the circle closing in as they finish off the dragon. From here, what you want to do is look for the floating golden tree in the sky, as that's the point where the circle will close in. Eventually, the ring of fire reaches its smallest size, and essentially forms an arena. This is where you'll fight the first major boss. Before the boss fight, a small group of enemies will spawn in. This serves as both a warm-up for the fight, and a teaser for which boss you're about to see. In this case, it's a pack of demi-humans. So fittingly, the boss fight is a demi-human queen and a demi-human swordsman. Something I appreciate about Nightreign is that these
Okay, so that Ons wasn't actually the summon. It was just like another. It was like a mini boss there too. Cool.
fights seem specifically designed for multiplayer, something we don't typically see in FromSoft games. In this case, it's due to there being 2 bosses at once, but I also encountered other bosses that are better examples of this. One of those bosses was the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls 1. During the fight, you can chop off its centipede limbs, but this forms an additional hazard as the severed limb keeps fighting. This is perfect for a group battle.
The thing is, a severed limb in Dark Souls 1 doesn't really be that aggressive. It kind of like moves pretty slowly. So I wonder if they actually change the Centipede Demon to make the arms be more aggressive.
Also, in case you're curious, its moveset seemed to modify from Dark Souls, so it wasn't like FromSoft just ported the boss into Elden Ring without making changes.
Modified Centipede Demon. It might actually be decent. But it seems like when you looked at the Centipede Demon from the picture, it seemed like it was not as lava-like. It seemed like brown.
I don't know exactly what those changes were, but I could tell that it felt different than Dark Souls. Another modified nighttime boss we encountered was Morgoth. He was mostly similar to his appearance in Elden Ring, but he had a few new moves, including this insane AoE blood slash that would hit
Insane AoE blood
the whole
slash.
group and nearly one-shot us. He also
Damn.
had new dagger throwing combos and just
New dagger throwing
seemed more
combos.
aggressive overall. If FromSoft is going
And more aggressive Morgoth?
to
Damn.
rely on reusing bosses, I appreciate that these changes make it feel new-ish and suited for co-op. It's a shame they didn't seem to make any meaningful changes to the demi-human boss fight, but oh well. Anyway, after completing the fight, you get the
Could have at least made the like demi-human look differently.
message Night Repulsed. The boss also drops a purple soul, and upon interacting with it, you get a choice between 3 different upgrades for your character. This is basically how it works when killing mini-bosses too, but the upgrade from this main boss is more substantial. Sometimes these upgrades operate purely in the background, like extra spell duration, but my group occasionally encountered some more interesting upgrades. One time, one of my teammates got an upgrade that created lightning bolts whenever he dodged. Another one he found cast fireballs whenever he walked. And I do mean walked. Like, slightly tilting the left stick was the only way to trigger it. While the walking one wasn't super useful, both of these upgrades were cool because they weren't just background percentage buffs to
That's
stats.
pretty cool.
They were noticeable abilities that had the
That's why I always want like some status effects to be like them sometimes. Not just like, you know, just random debuffing or flat damage, like some cool shit like that. Nice.
potential to shift our playstyle, at least a little bit. After everyone chooses an upgrade, fog rolls in and the Ring of Fire fully recedes. From there,
The Ring of
day 2
Fire
begins and you get to continue exploring the map to get stronger before night 2. Worth noting is that enemies and bosses defeated during day 1 don't respawn, so it's a good idea to keep track of where you've already been. So yeah, the gameplay loop you've seen repeats for day 2, and if you survive the night 2 boss, you're immediately taken to the Night Lord on day 3. As such, day 3 consists of just this boss fight with no exploration phase. You progress to day 3 by walking along a pathway to a door that reminds me a lot of the area and door at the end of Shadow of the Erdtree. The Night Lord of the demo was Gladius, a 3-headed dog monster that swings around a giant sword on a chain. This guy is no joke. Also, for those of you who haven't played all the Soulsborne games, this is in fact the first boss that's completely unique to Nightreign, and I suspect the other Night Lords will be completely new as well. This guy also has a...
That's pretty interesting then. That's cool. So hopefully, like, if they're gonna make all the 8 new Night Lord bosses, hopefully all unique. That'd be nice. And I have a feeling they're all gonna be like this, to where they're gonna be very balanced around the 3-person gameplay.
It's a pretty devastating grab attack, so I recommend not getting hit by it. During the fight, one of Wilder's teammates goes down, and here they showcase the ability to revive teammates with ranged weapons like bows. This is surprisingly useful, and it might be worth holding on to a ranged weapon just for situations like this. Speaking of ranged weapons, you don't have to worry about ammo in this game. It's unlimited. Around the
Unlimited ammo.
halfway point, the boss explodes into 3 fireballs and then reforms as 3 separate dogs. This is probably the toughest part of the fight, and I think the best strategy is to try to take on each of them one by one. When I talked to Vadi after the event, he told me he just ran away until they reformed into one body. So that might be an even better strat, even if it's boring. Either
They go to all these content creators get to talk to each other. I'm mad.
way, this is Nightrein's best example so far of a boss designed for 3 people, and I hope the rest of the Night Lords have similar co-op mechanics. And then win or lose, that's the end of the run. Okay, that's all the footage I got, but there are still a few things they didn't include footage of that I think are worth mentioning. First, you can find spectral merchants across the map. Merchants sell a variety of
Spectral
consumables and
merchants.
weapons, but given how important leveling is, we often didn't have enough runes to spare. Like, for example, they would sometimes sell a legendary weapon for 40,000 runes, which, for this game, is quite a bit. They also seem to always sell a pouch that gives you 1 extra consumable slot for the rest of the run. Next to each merchant is an anvil, which you can use to upgrade your weapons. To upgrade a weapon, you need to find a smithing stone of the corresponding rarity, and then upon using it, it levels up your weapon to the next tier. So for example, a blue weapon would turn into a purple weapon. This also means that it's technically possible to level up a white weapon all the way to orange. I don't think the weapon itself changes during this upgrade process, aside from just getting extra damage. Also worth noting is that non-combat consumables like smithing stones or stone sword keys take up inventory space, so they might get in the way of all those fire bombs you want to carry. When exploring, you can find plants like roa fruit scattered around sometimes. In Elden Ring,
Roa
it's a
fruits.
crafting material, but that's not a thing in Nightreign, so instead they just restore a bit of health right when you pick them up. There are similar blue plants that restore FP too. There are also mage towers just like Elden Ring. You know the ones with the little puzzles where you gotta find the spectral turtles? Those are here too. Though when we found one, we kind of just hit the statue at the front and it opened up immediately. So it's unclear to me if there's more to unlocking them in the full game. But yeah, they have loot inside. Another thing you can sometimes find is a glowing red body on the ground, which is the location that someone else failed to run. If you interact with the body, someone
Really?
pops out.
Where someone failed around. So there actually is like some some forms of bloodstains.
And I assume it corresponds with whatever weapons they had at the time they died.
That's cool.
Sometimes you'll come across weird hazards during your runs. One time, my group found a big purple bubble floating across the sky. When we approached it, a swarm of giant ants poured out.
Oh no! Oh.
Totally remember how this played out, but I think we got a mini boss reward after defeating them. You can also get invaded by bosses sometimes. This sadly didn't happen to my group, but I was
Invaded by bosses?
Margit invade them out of nowhere. What's cool about this is that can happen at inconvenient times, like when you're fighting a big group of enemies or another boss. Do you deal with it? Do you run away? Do you reposition to a better location? All these are
I'll take care of the ants,
questions that
thanks.
result in some fun emergent gameplay. Stuff like this has the potential to be the defining moment of a run, where things go off the rails in a fun and memorable way. In theory, this is one of my favorite features in the whole game. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a maximum range for receiving runes from killed enemies. You can see an example of this in the first clip of the Duchess, where she receives runes from her teammates killing enemies all the way over at the fort. This is interesting to me because it leaves the door open for strategies where you might want to split up. Like, imagine splitting up and clearing 3 camps at the same time. That might be faster than doing it together. However, one reason not to do this is because of how shared rewards from mini-bosses work. Killing a mini-boss gives each player their own reward, but only if they approach the purple soul that it leaves behind. We also found a reinforced chest, which functioned in a similar way and let each player claim a reward from it separately. Another tip, normally when you get downed, your teammates only have 15 seconds to revive you.
They don't actually talked about things like mimic chests. Nobody said anything about mimics. So probably there's no mimics in Nightreign. Is it gonna be like a day 4 and a day 5 and stuff? Like, is it every single 3 days you end up going against like a night boss? Like, when does it end? Is day through the final day and that's it? And like, what's the progression after that? Like, what if you actually beat the game and do all the days and kill the bosses? Like, do you gain anything? Do you gain cool like cosmetics or some shit like that? I don't know. We'll see.
But this timer is removed during the main nighttime boss fights. Along with this, in case it wasn't obvious, if everyone dies here, the run is over as opposed to simply losing a level. Let's go over some details from the hub area too. Just like Elden Ring, the round table hold is the hub. To begin a run, you approach the table and select the Night Lord you want to hunt. It's vaguely similar to selecting a monster to hunt in Monster Hunter. The game then immediately puts you into matchmaking to find a group to play with, but you can also use passwords just like Elden Ring to play with friends. The hub is also populated by all of the playable characters, minus whatever character you're currently controlling. They all just stand around and say hello in the demo, but I'm guessing the full game will have them giving you bits of their story between runs in a similar fashion to Hades. There's also a sparring ground area and an outside area connected to the round table hold. Here you can test out every weapon in the game.
That's fan-fucking-tastic. That's the one thing that I was worried about when it comes to making content. I was like, how am I going to be able to like test things or rank weapons or rank abilities if every single time that I play the game is going to be randomized and stuff? How am I going to get gameplay? But that's pretty cool that I can at least test things out. That's nice. But I still have to get gameplay, so still always going to be some RNG heavy based shit, but...
And set your character level from 1 to 15, which I assume is the max. This is neat, and I took advantage of this during my play session to test out how damage scaling worked. So, stats like strength and dexterity are hidden. Like, I genuinely couldn't find a stat screen that showed them, and you can't manually raise them when leveling up, but they do still exist, and different weapons scale with different stats, just like Elden Ring. To test this, I spawned in a legendary greatsword with a C scaling in strength, and made my character level 15. On Wilder, the strength dex guy, a two-handed light attack dealt 348 damage. On the Recluse, the intelligence character, it only dealt 191. The Duchess also dealt...
I see now. Cool. So there is base stats. Interesting. So you are gonna benefit if you actually go use strength-based weapons. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. That's one thing I was like worried about. I was like, it's gonna be pretty silly if just any weapon, any person can use any, like, you know, any spells or any types of weapons, any character. But you're better off going with a strength-based weapon if you have a strength-based character. That's fantastic.
191 and the Guardian dealt 299. So what this means is that even though you're free to use any weapon you
gives us flexibility, yeah, it's cool.
Find during a run, you still probably want to stick to your character's archetype, or else you'll have to deal with a damage penalty. I have mixed feelings about this, and at the very least, I don't think it should be so hidden, but it is important to know so that you can be more effective during a run.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hidden. I don't know why they always can't try to hide shit like that.
The last main component of the hub is the relic altar. Here you can equip relics between runs, and each of these gives you some sort of bonus or new ability. You can equip up to 3 per character, but they're color-coded, and the relic slots are color-coded too. For example, one character might have 2 red slots and 1 blue slot, and that means you're only allowed to equip 2 red relics and 1 blue relic. I believe there's 3 or 4 different relic colors. What do these relics do? Well, a lot of them are sort of boring stat bonuses, like +4 strength, or extra damage with X weapon. But a few of them are actually interesting, as they can change up how you play. My favorite was the relic that enables group healing whenever you drink from your flask. This is straight out of the Elden Ring Reforged mod I played last year.
Really? I was gonna say, like, it's like Dark Souls 1 Estus Flask. Because Dark Souls 1 Estus, when you heal, it heals your allies as well.
Loved it then, and I love it now because it adds another layer of interactivity and synergy between players, where you're paying attention to their positioning and their health in a way that you might not have otherwise. Another fun one that's kind of similar was a relic that gave the effects of consumables you use to all nearby allies. One clutch use of this was using a gold pickled Foulfoot right before we killed the boss, that all 3 of us got extra runes. Some relics are character specific, such as the one that gives Wilder a combo attack he can use after his grapple shot, that also said...
Ah, so that's probably where that unique power sensing dagger moveset came from, because he's just saying that, like, these relics give you some unique types of attacks sometimes. So that's probably where the dagger moveset came from. Maybe it came from a relic, or maybe it was just a unique weapon.
Sets his weapon on fire. Big fan of that one too. So yeah, I only got to see a few relics, but if the full game includes more of these impactful and gameplay defining cool ones, and less of the +7% to fingernail growth rate ones, I'm on board. That's about all I found in the hub, but I believe they gave hints that there would be more NPCs in the full game, such as a shop where you can buy and sell relics using a special currency earned after each run. And they also said something about being able to unlock skins for each character, which I assume are...
That's one thing I was wanting to see, because hopefully we get some cool, like, customization, like some this cosmetic stuff that we can actually gain, because, like, obviously every single one you have to start from scratch, but, like, after, like, you know, finishing certain runs, like, what do we actually gain? Do we actually gain anything cool? And if it's something like relic currency or, like, cosmetics, that would be pretty cool. So there's, like, you know, just repeating the game over and over again, but
we're just
something to work towards.
Okay, that about does it for details
Some
on
objective
the content of the game. So let's talk a bit about the preview event itself that I attended in Vegas. So the event was unfortunately a shit show in which people were constantly disconnecting due to network issues. Like,
oh, damn.
Truly, it was a disaster that almost stopped us from playing at all. Basically, we got split into groups of 3 and sent to tables where there would be 3 PS5s at each table. Then, like clockwork, every 5 to 15 minutes, at least one person in each group would get booted from the game with no way to reconnect.
Damn.
From there, we'd be forced to either restart completely or push on with only 2 people while
Well, I'm glad if they're having issues, they had issues there, but I'm not sure if that was like an issue due to like their internet or the actual game.
The game kept the same difficulty intended for 3. Every single person who attended this event experienced these issues, so I'll be curious to see how other attendees discuss this. I was grouped with Lobos Jr. and Ouroboros, and of the many runs we attempted, we didn't get through a...
What a fucking squad. Lobos and Ouroboros. I wanted to be there. I should be there. That's fine.
single one without disconnect. We also experienced a couple desyncs where enemies would be invisible for one player while appearing normal for the other, though these only occurred after a disconnect, so it might be a non-issue under normal gameplay conditions. Despite these tech issues, I do feel like we saw pretty much everything in the demo, and we did make it to the end. So I'm doing my best to evaluate the game independently of these disconnects, and giving FromSoft the benefit of the doubt that the actual game won't have these issues. The leading theory is that the event space Wi-Fi was just kind of fucked with too many devices being on it. I'm leaning toward this being true, as the European Bandai event didn't have these issues. Regardless, I'm telling you that
There was a European Bandai event. Where's the Australian Bandai event, huh? Will there be voice chat? I don't know.
Because I think it's important context that this is how I first experienced the game. And it's a shame I'm forced to relay my experience to you through the lens of a scuffed event. Quite frankly, I think US Bandai messed up badly.
They should be.
And I'd be kind of pissed if I was FromSoft. Aside from that though, I did have fun. And while I think most people would have fun if they were in my shoes and got to play a co-op game with Lobos and Oro, I do think FromSoft has something here if I was able to find the fun even in the worst of circumstances. Ultimately, I think this game will be a commercial success. The fun is there and it has Elden Ring's branding. Obviously it won't reach anywhere near Elden Ring's success, but it doesn't have to, because my guess is that it only cost a fraction of Elden Ring's budget to develop. And of course it did. 90% of this game is just Elden Ring. And like I mentioned earlier, it feels more like an...
It's just free money for FromSoft for it to put into their other games that are actually going to make them even more money.
ambitious fan mod than a standalone product.
Voice chat is necessary, yeah. But there's not gonna be they said there wasn't gonna be cross-platform though, which is like super weird.
On that note, I think it's worth addressing the discourse surrounding this game. When Nightreign was first announced, there was naturally a lot of excitement, but there was also by far the most cynicism I've seen directed at a FromSoft project. And like, I obviously get it. The game is built out of recycled content from Elden Ring, you have bosses from past Souls games returning with seemingly no context, and the official messaging is calling it a, quote, survival game. That's all gonna make people imagine something akin to Metal Gear Survive or Resident Evil Reverse, games that bastardize the IP in the name of chasing a market trend. It's a cash grab, it's publisher mandated, Miyazaki sold out. There were quite a few comments expressing these sentiments, and I'm sure some comments on this video will say the same thing. Again, I do get it. These claims aren't coming from nowhere, and there is of course reason to be skeptical. Now, even though I understand all of this, I'm not quite that cynical. Basically, I can appreciate that FromSoft wants to make a weird spin-off game on a smaller budget, while giving someone who's been at the company since Dark Souls 1, Junya Ishizaki, the chance at directing their own game. This is a practice that is pretty uncommon for AAA studios, and I think it's a shame because it leaves the industry with less experimentation and risk-taking in general. If every game by a large developer costs at least $100 million to make, you're gonna see most studios play it safe. Is Nightreign the best example of FromSoft taking a risk? No, not at all. This game will sell well on brand recognition alone, but the point still stands that small projects are a space for larger developers to try new things. And I do think Nightreign experiments with the Souls formula in interesting ways we'd never see from a mainline game. All that being said, I was skeptical before I even played the game, though it wasn't coming from a place of cynicism toward the industry. It instead was coming from a place of love for the action roguelike genre and wondering if Elden Ring could fit into it. Basically, Souls-like combat is inherently simple, and its ability to be compelling depends a lot on other aspects of the game. Take Dark Souls, for example. Combat is a core pillar of the experience, yes, but it's held up greatly by the other core pillars, like level design, thoughtful enemy placement, and exploration. But with a roguelike, due to the randomized nature of the game, you usually just have the combat, and Dark Souls combat without anything else is like butter without toast. To me, it was obvious that there would need to be a lot more to make a game like this work. And they did indeed add a lot more. From the time pressure to the character abilities to the co-op synergy to the map traversal mechanics, FromSoft added quite a few gameplay elements to help support Elden Ring's core combat system. So is this a complete success? I'm honestly not sure yet. I'm somewhat optimistic, but for me, a lot of it is going to depend on how much more there is to the full game. Because right now, based off what I played, I have some concerns and the full picture isn't clear. Most of my reservations stem from me being unsure of the roguelike aspects of the game and worrying that runs will feel too similar too quickly. For starters, it's unclear to me how much the map will change between runs. For this demo, as far as I could tell, it didn't change at all. We would start at one of two locations, but then that was it. All the points of interest were in the same spot, and we'd fight the same enemies and bosses. Now, of course, I do recognize that this is almost certainly just for the demo, and that the full game will meaningfully remix the map between runs, but I need to see that for myself before I vouch for this game. When I asked the Bandai representatives if they could clarify how the map would change between runs, or if there was more than one map, they were pretty cagey. They did talk about how swamps and volcanoes could drastically change things up, and the initial reveal trailer did seem to show a bit of this off, but until I see it for myself, it's unclear how meaningful these changes will be. That being said...
Well, Vadi said there was another map. So those 2 maps. So
I'm reasonably optimistic, and if I had to guess, I think the map will change a lot based off which Night Lord you select before each run. The other concern I have is just the variety in builds between runs. Due to the nature of most upgrades being small passive boosts, the way you start and end each run might be a little too similar. To put it another way, you know how in a game like Hades you get multiple gameplay defining upgrades that massively shift your build or playstyle? That part of the game is inherently less present in Nightreign. Sure, you'll find a weapon that gives plus 9% damage when two-handing, but in terms of moment-to-moment gameplay, having or not having that boost isn't going to change how you play. The same can be said about the whole leveling system. Yes, leveling up lets you deal more damage, but the way you play doesn't shift between level 1 and level 2. And as someone who's played a lot of action...
Yeah, Hades combo is really fun. And like all the different abilities that you can get for certain types of weapons are just amazing. Made the weapons feel like a lot different. Whereas like some of these effects don't really seem like that much different, you know?
Roguelikes, this is a notable absence. Now, to be fair, not all upgrades are like this. Stuff like the passive that gives you a lightning attack when you dodge, or the relic that gives you group
a lightning attack when you dodge, that sounds cool.
Healing are meaningful changes and can noticeably impact a run. So I really hope the full game has more.
If we get more of that stuff, that'd be cool.
Thinking about this issue some more, we shouldn't ignore all the weapons and spells. Elden Ring might actually be a fantastic game to turn into a roguelike, if only for the variety of weapons and spells already built into the game. There are over 400 weapons and over 200 spells in Elden Ring, and the average Elden Ring player probably only used like less than 5% of them. But in a game where you have to use what you find and be kind of scrappy over short
that was poison moth flight animation. What the heck?
Runs, suddenly there's an opportunity to engage.
So that's the unique combo.
Weapons and spells
that's not power sense, that's just one-handed, right?
Plus, Elden Ring has a shit.
I see, that's just the one-handed moveset. Okay, that's what it was. It wasn't a power sensing combo. It was just a unique light attack combo.
And bosses. So again, they have a deep well to draw from. And that's on top of them bringing back bosses from past Dark Souls games. Yes, this all relies entirely on recycled content, but that doesn't change the fact that it gives FromSoft a lot to work with in terms of variety. So yeah, maybe the leveling and passives being kind of boring is actually fine within the context of the rest of the game. Also, even if the player builds are limited when compared to other roguelikes, I think there's still a lot of potential for emerging gameplay when you factor in the rest of the gameplay systems, like the synergies between different character abilities, or unexpected hazards.
I think only good can spawn from this. It's like they're experimenting with a new genre, but they're obviously gonna not really go too hard and like, you know, put a lot of money into experimenting with a new genre. So they're just gonna like just make it Elden Ring assets, and then they can just build upon a combat system, have some new ideas, have some abilities, and whatever they learn from building from this, they could probably implement it into a new game, and maybe they'll end up adding like a roguelike type of feature in their just next type of Souls game. And they can just use the things that they learn from this. And the money that they make from this, they can just put it into the next game too. So like, I think we just only benefit. I think there's no downside here for like us ever. Like if you don't like this style of game, then you just don't buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like a small project, and it's gonna be like, you know, it's probably hasn't taken that much effort or required a lot of people or a lot of budget. So it's like they use a lot of assets to do this project and not really make another project. So I think we just only benefit. Only downside is the community? Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know, people they just want, I don't know. I think we shouldn't shoehorn From Software. Like, From Software is so innovative that we can't just like shoehorn them into just being like making the same type of game every single time. And like the community has gotten so big to the point that everyone's gonna have different preferences, and then they're gonna be like, oh, this game sucks because it's not what I like. And then there's gonna be a bunch of people that all have that same, you know, opinion. Like, yeah, I don't like this either. And it's like, it's not for you then. That's all it is. That's all it is.
It's like bosses invading you in the middle of a fight.
Like, I just don't think it's that deep. I think it's just like, oh, you wanna, it's like, because Miyazaki just like signed off on this. Someone was like, oh, I want to make something like this. Sounds cool. Do it. Go ahead. We have like some new hires, probably get some people on board. It's just, you know.
A lot to be said about the map itself. It's
let them do whatever.
Intertwined with all the other systems. Figuring out the best way to move around the map under time pressure is engaging, and simply where and when you get yourself into a fight can lead to different outcomes. So you like the game? I thought you weren't sure. Pine, you're confusing me. Let me put it like this. As a massive fan of FromSoft, Souls-likes, and the action roguelike genre, I'm in the dead center of the Venn diagram of the potential audience for this game. I had fun playing it, and I think, at worst, this game will be a fun diversion for a couple weekends with my friends. It has a lot going for it. I think the time pressure is compelling. I appreciate all the co-op shenanigans, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't wasn't looking forward to fighting Dark Souls 2 bosses with Elden Ring's combat. Since this demo only showed off a small part of the game, I can't be sure about everything, but the potential is there. It'll depend on how some of the systems pan out in the full release, such as how the map changes. That being said, everyone doesn't share my tastes, and the audience for this game will be more niche than Elden Ring. I think people who aren't already fans of action roguelikes might not like it at all. On top of that, I do understand the cynicism toward the amount of recycled content a game like this has. So if that's off-putting to you, I get wanting to pass on this one. Truly, I'm not going to die on any hills defending FromSoft. I think it's reasonable to be skeptical. The game comes out on May 30th, and it'll be $40 at launch. It's also going to launch with
$440. Why did YouTube want to like? YouTube was against the anti-Nightreign propaganda.
Edition that'll come with DLC containing new playable characters, new bosses, and new map biomes. The DLC itself won't be available day one, but I think selling DLC at launch is something FromSoft hasn't done before. And while I don't personally have an issue with it, I do understand people who do. And I don't think it's something FromSoft
selling DLC at launch, something FromSoft has done. You could buy the Dark Souls 3 DLC at launch.
Done before. And while I don't personally have an issue with it, I do understand people who do. And I don't think it's a great look for FromSoft.
Don't like that they're planning a DLC already? I think it's fine. It's like, oh, we have the idea, the game's basically ready, let's just go release it. Instead of having to wait, you know. Because I think they're just going to release it, then they'll probably like see how it goes. Just update it along the way, balancing, and then add some more things later. Because like, you could very well have this type of game just be a live service game. They could have been like, okay, this is going to be a live service game. Every single year we're going to have like a big major update, adds probably like another map, some more characters, you know. That's how like live service games tend to be, but this is not going to be a live service game. So it'll be like, okay, we'll probably have like one update, and that'll probably end up leaving them to like, you know, giving us enough to play with until we actually end up getting to the next FromSoft game. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, I think it's fine. This game should be live service. I don't think it should be because one is still playing on the PS4. So if it's going to be a live service, you're going to have to plan it out to be like, you know, last 5, 6, 7 years. And I think it's not going to age very well. Because, you know, still going to be able to play on the PS4. And it's still using, you know, like Dark Souls and the Elden Ring movesets. I think when they join their next, or when they make their next game, it's going to be like really innovative and probably have really cool types of stuff. And something like this is going to be like, feel pretty basic in comparison. So, yeah. The next FromSoft game? Yeah, like the one after the Nightreign. Yeah. Well, like they're always working on stuff. So they're definitely making a game right now. We just don't know what the fuck it is. Which weapon is the character using? Doesn't anyone know? What this weapon on the back right there? This one is the Omen Cleaver. That's what it looks like.
FromSoft, when they already have so much cynicism.
It's Spellbound? No, Spellbound was confirmed to be fake. That was fake news. Literally.
And distrust surrounding the game. I strongly suspect this will be a source of controversy. So yeah, Nightreign. It's a weird game, and I don't know how the general public is going to react to it. If I had to guess, I'd say it'll be reasonably well liked, but it's probably not going to blow anyone's mind. Like I said,
how is it confirmed to be fake? I think like the person that made it up went out and came out and said it. I remember it was like there was like rumors, and then like people were covering it, and then the same people that were covering it were like, oh, it's actually fake. Something like that. So yeah, it was like debunked like last year, long time ago.
Like I said though, I think the worst case is I get to have fun with my friends for a couple weekends. So I'm looking forward to it even with all my reservations. And I would love to have the full game surprise me in ways I won't see coming. I also think that
and there might still be like a thing. It might still have like a spell-based game. Maybe they'll write out something, but like I don't know, they're probably just talking shit. Especially like all the screenshots and stuff that they had, I was like, okay. Anyway, well, that's his video. Well, between his and Iron Pineapples, I don't think there's too much more that we can go over. We'll probably watch Ouroboros video. And then maybe Fextralize's video. Where's Aura? Did Scum not get to play it? I don't think it did. Oro.
Hey guys, Oro here, and last month I was fortunate enough to get invited out
Last
to Las
month?
Vegas by From.
A month ago? Scum not as a brand risk. Last month. That probably would have been like at least 3 weeks ago. Why wasn't you invited? Because it was only held in Vegas and there was one in Europe, and I live in Australia. They flew out Vardy because, you know, Vardy's like the biggest YouTuber, but I don't think they're going to fly me out, so it is what it is. That's fine. If there was one in Australia, I probably would have been able to get invited. That gameplay for this a month ago? Yeah, they played this a month ago, so they said, yeah. They probably just like signed an NDA, so they weren't allowed to talk about it, and then now this was like the embargo date. Assuming of what it was like when I played Shadow of the Erdtree. Because like I got to play Shadow of the Erdtree early, but that's because I had one here in Australia. But the fact that Vardy said he got flew out means that there wasn't going to be one in Australia, so...
Software and Bandai Namco to get an early sneak peek at Elden Ring Nightreign. For this event, I wasn't allowed to record, so the gameplay you're watching right now is provided by From Software. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience with the game after having played it for a few hours. Now, before we started playing, they had some important announcements to share with us. Number 1, Elden Ring Nightreign releases on May 30th. Number 2, there will be DLC that includes new characters and biomes. Number 3, there will be a collector's edition of the game.
Say biomes?
That includes the DLC and...
Did you get the network test? Yeah, I'll show you the network test, yeah.
And a statue of Wilder, the knight with the grappling hook. Number 4, there will also be a Wilder helmet replica for sale, similar to the Melania and Mesmer helmets. I'm super excited that we don't have to wait too much longer to get our hands on the full game. Anyways, continuing on, I got to team up with 2 of my friends who just happen to be some of the best Elden Ring players in the world, Iron Pineapple and Lobos Jr. We made one hell of a team and absolutely decimated the entire game. But unfortunately, our event had constant disconnects due to terrible hotel internet. They didn't have time to test it because of a last-second venue change due to the LA fires.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Where did my camera go? It went bye-bye. Camera, where'd you go? Wait, was it been gone the entire time? Did I touch something? I don't know.
But what can you do? All the other events apparently ran smoothly and had 0 disconnects, so it wasn't the game.
Now I was up on Twitch, but I was working on it. It was on YouTube. I don't know. How long has the camera been gone? No.
Because our event was basically 2-player only, none of us were able to beat the final boss. In fact, only 2 teams even made it to him. Our team made it with just 2 players, and another team that miraculously had no disconnects made it as well. At the other events, however, every single team beat the final boss. This really goes to show the power of teamwork, which is why I even bothered to share all of this. This game is clearly balanced around having all 3 players present.
I'll play it offline? Yeah. I'm not sure if you have to be online to be able to like just load into the game and then you have like obviously you're gonna have the option to go on solo. But I wonder if you need to be online to play it.
And beating this game solo is still possible, but it will...
Enemies is really tanky? I assume so. I think there's gonna be like some scaling system for like solo play, but like might just be like a little bit less health. But like the fact that the enemy density and like the bosses themselves are gonna be balanced around multiplayer use, I think it's just... I think solo play is gonna be shit, honestly. It'd be basically like this challenge run type stuff.
Will be extremely challenging. Teamwork is the name of the game. Communication is key and sticking together makes a world of difference. We ended up just playing without our headsets so we could communicate with each other in real time. Chatting about our strategies, loot, and attacks was extremely helpful. It was made super evident that this game really rewards teamwork. When all 3 of us were connected and actually able to play, it was a seriously incredible experience. Even with the constant disconnects, we had an absolute blast with the game. It's super fun, challenging, and rewarding. Now, before I talk more about my experience, let's take a step back and ask, what exactly is Nightreign? Nightreign is a roguelike, which is a style of game traditionally characterized by procedurally generated levels, random power-ups, and permanent death of the player character. In a good roguelike, no 2 runs are ever the same. If you played games like Hades, Dead Cells, or Risk of Rain, you understand how fun roguelikes can be when done well. They have near infinite replayability. My hope for Nightreign is that it achieves this and more. Now, when you start Nightreign, the first thing you do is select your character. There are 8 different characters to choose from in the base game, each with different passives, abilities, and dodges that dramatically change how you play the game. With this test, we only had access to 4 characters: Wilder, Guardian, Duchess, and Recluse. Something to note is that you can stack characters, so you can have a team of 3 Wilders if you really want. When you load into the world, you'll get to select where we drop in, boys. I mean, where to land with your team. The idea is to run around the map, kill enemies for runes to level up, equip loot to become stronger, and prepare to fight the boss at the end of the day. There's also a storm that closes in around you that you have to be constantly aware of.
The storm. We know about this.
So, if you die during a boss,
show us something different.
So use it sparingly.
He's probably not going to tell us anything different. Elden Ring Nightreign level 1.
Secondly, your character can now
no
vault
hit
over
run level 1
obstacles,
Nightreign.
similar to Sekiro.
No
Both of these
buffs, no
mechanics
relics.
Combined made traversing the world of Nightreign, Limvel, super fun and engaging. Another thing to note is that there's absolutely no fall damage in this game, so feel free to jump to your heart's content. Now the third change is that you now get 2 abilities to use depending on the character you selected. These abilities are on a cooldown, with one of them being a weaker but short cooldown ability, and the other one being a strong ultimate ability that takes much longer to charge. These abilities can be activated by holding triangle and pressing.
The cynicism that's plaguing the community ever since this was announced makes me think gamers as a whole deserve less. Just people in general. It's not really just a gamer type of thing, but it's just people in general. I don't know, but yeah. People just getting, I guess the gaming community more so is that they're just getting more demanding. Like they're seeing like a lots of like really cool games out there that are getting released, and then everything's just comparison. You have to compare one thing to another thing. If you're making a game in one genre, it has to be compared to a game in the same genre, and it's just constant comparisons back and forth, and be like, what are you really adding? And this game sucks. It's not like this one. This one's way better. It's just toxic. Let these companies cook the game that they want to make. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Just move on. People feel so entitled to be like, no, the game has to be made the way I like it to be made, and it has to be good. And
R2 or L2. Now these abilities are super fun and powerful, and I found myself using them off cooldown. The ultimate abilities also have iframes, which allow to use them in the mist.
I want to know why fair criticisms is treated like fascism. It's not like, if you don't like a game, then you can just sit there and just don't like the game. But like when people don't like the game, they have to go ahead and tell everybody that they don't like the game and that it sucks, and they have to get in these like negative discourse and be toxic. That's just the way that it is. So you don't have to like the game. You can have criticism about the game and be like, I don't want to play because of this, this, and this. But you have to like let everyone know that they're not going to play because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, no one cares.
Of combat. Nightreign also features a perfect block and dodging system. I'm not really sure how these work, but I was able to get the perfect dodge to trigger.
Why is it toxic to call out copy paste? Because it's still going to be a different game with some different types of mechanics. Just because using the same enemies doesn't mean it's like, you know. Would it be better if they had like different enemies in a different type of map? Probably, yeah. But like the whole gameplay is not centered around like, you know, necessarily the map, but it's centered around the gameplay mechanics and the combat. And if they make the combat differently, then it's fine. Because it's going to be like, it's still Elden Ring. They're still selling it under Elden Ring. Like if they have a sequel right now, it's going to have a lot of the same enemies, probably have some like similar types of maps. You know, like you play a game like God of War. Like God of War and God of War Ragnarok, there's still a bunch of like the same locations, still a bunch of the same enemies, same movesets. You still play the same thing. It's like it's a different story and some like more different bosses, you know? It's how like the games typically are made. Even the games like a long time ago, like when they make sequels and stuff like that, basically the same fucking thing. Anyway.
Once on Wilder by dodging into an attack. Not really sure what these do yet, but just know that they are present in the game and they're really cool. There are also brand new weapons that each character is equipped by default, which feature new movesets exclusive to Nightreign. On top of that, a few weapons in the game have updated movesets, most noticeable being greatswords. Now, let's talk about the graphics and performance. We were playing on PS5s and the game looked exactly like Elden Ring.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely stunning. Now, also like Elden Ring, it had 2 modes on console. Quality mode with enhanced resolution.
Quality
and performance mode that prioritizes frame rate. I played exclusively on performance mode and noticed that the game didn't quite reach 60 FPS. Similar to Elden Ring on PS5, it seemed around 50 to 60 FPS at all times, which isn't too bad at all. But I really
So I gotta get rid of these fucking PS4 games. Make PS5 exclusives.
wish they got a stable 60, especially on performance mode. Please note that this is a super early build of the game, and it's possible that the performance will improve in the full game. Also, this build we were playing was most likely an early network test build that you'll all get to experience in 2 days on the 14th. Now I'm going to go over the 4
We get to play the
characters that I
same
got
game.
to play. The first character, Wilder, ended up being my favorite. He's a default badass knight guy with a grappling hook and pile driver. His passive ability allows him to cheat death once per run, which makes him a really safe pick. The grapple did decent damage and could pull enemies towards you or you towards bigger enemies. His ultimate, the pile driver, does a massive amount of stagger damage if it lands. You can also hold it down for incredible forward momentum. The second character, Guardian, was the Burbman with the halberd and the great shield. His passive allows him to do a super block, which allows you to block more attacks without getting guard broken and makes him the perfect tank. His ability allowed him to do a big AoE whirlwind, which interrupted enemy attack.
We know about that stuff.
Mobile in combat. She can also do an awesome backflip if you dodge backwards, similar to the Darkwood Grain Ring from Dark Souls 1.
We get the Darkwood Grain Ring back again. Kinda. Which class are you gonna choose first? I don't know.
Ability allows her to double the damage on an enemy at any given moment, which honestly felt incredibly overpowered with bleed
I
procs.
can't wait to play with new skins. Hopefully they'll add Spider-Man skins in the game. That'd be cool. Hopefully we get a Travis Scott skin. That'd be pretty cool too.
And team coordination. Her ultimate ability gives everyone invisibility, which allows your whole team to attack the enemy without aggro for some time. Something to note though, even while cloaked, boss enemies will still randomly try to attack to hit you, so you have to be careful. The final playable character from the test is the Recluse, a female wizard character that we were warned.
We don't need another breakdown of the
It's
Recluse.
probably the coolest thing in the game, honestly. Upgrades you find are extremely important to having a successful run in Nightreign. Every single weapon from Elden Ring can randomly drop. Although oddly, nothing from Shadow of the Erdtree DLC.
Nothing from Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. It makes you wonder if they actually worked on this before Shadow of the Erdtree even dropped. Can you play it single player? Yeah, you can. It's just not. It's probably gonna be shit though, because it's gonna be balanced around multiplayer. So you could try it. I mean, I recommend us going into the game multiplayer first, and maybe getting better and understanding the concepts, and then probably then going into single player. But yeah.
Each weapon has a rarity. White is common, blues are rare, purples are epic, and orange is legendary. There's a level requirement for equipping higher rarities.
Maybe Shadow of the Erdtree weapons will be in the Nightreign DLC. Maybe.
Level 3 for blues, level 9 for purples, and level 12 for legendaries. You can also upgrade weapons at an anvil with smithing stones if you find any. Anvils are always found by merchants, which will also have some stones for sale. All equipment comes with random ashes of war and spells equipped on them, which you cannot change. Using
Random
them still
ashes.
costs FP, and because there are no FP flasks in Nightreign, you have to rely on running through blue fields to quickly regenerate your FP during a run.
You have to
These
run
can be
to
found
blue
throughout
fields to regenerate FP. There's no FP flasks. That's new information. Nice.
Also, bows have infinite arrows, which makes them extra useful as a backup weapon. Now, each weapon comes with several random passive bonuses that are active whether...
I wonder if there's gonna be like a bow class, and I'm guessing that bow class will probably have a... Hope they have like a passive to where like the bows can actually do like a cool unique moveset, or probably have like, you know, at least more damage.
Whether or not it's actively equipped. Because of this, you need to look for good passives for your character, and even if you don't plan on using the weapon, be sure to equip it for the passive bonuses. You can equip up to 6 weapons at once, and there is no equip load, so don't worry about fat rolling. Certain legendary weapons also come with active bonuses. For example, the Darkmoon Greatsword has a bonus that carrying retaliates every time you attack with it, which allows you to attack.
Alright, what do you
Sword
say?
has a bonus that carrying retaliates every time you attack with it.
Carrying a what? Fuck did you say?
The Darkmoon Greatsword has a bonus that carrying retaliates every time you attack with it, which allows...
Oh, carrying retaliates. Okay. Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
allows you to attack and deflect spells at the exact same time.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
On top of weapons, you can also equip up to 2 talismans as well. Loot is shared, so be sure to leave some items for your teammates and ping the items you think they might need.
There is pinging, cool.
However, not all loot is shared. When you defeat a mini-boss, a black orb will spawn for all players. Each player gets to interact with it and pick an upgrade out of a few choices. This is often the best way to get huge character upgrades and legendary equipment. Something to note, you can always drop equipment for other players. So if you see something really powerful for another character in your party, you can select it and then drop it for them. The final way to upgrade your character is with these character upgrades. These last throughout the entire run. They often drop as loot after you defeat the main mini-bosses each day. One upgrade can give you extra iframes on your dodges, and another automatically casts Ice Storm when you start sprinting.
Say more iframes on your dodges. Adaptability has returned. It's like a passive ability. Cast Ice Storm when you start sprinting. That's the second time we've seen something like that. They said like you can run and actually summons fireballs next to you. You can dodge and it summons like a lightning attack. And when you start sprinting, it summons as more Ice Storm. That's pretty cool. There's talismans and there's weapons have active talisman effects too. Yeah, something like that. And there's like something like relics as well.
Talk about the bosses
that can have these cool types of effects. I'm guessing like some weapons, probably legendary weapons, have these passive effects. Like the Darkwing Greatsword can parry with its fucking light attack combo, which is kind of cool. That's interesting.
Encounter. At the end of each day, the circle closed in around the boss arena. Ads will spawn in that you have to kill before them.
They gave the Knight Rider's glaive the fucking halberd moveset, like the regular halberd moveset, not the downward slam
main boss
moveset.
There was Morgoth the Fell Omen, the Fell Twins, Centipede Demon, and the Draconian Tree Sentinel. The final boss is always the three-headed Cerberus, the Tricephalus. That's the best you're gonna get. Each boss had new attacks that they didn't have in Elden Ring. To mix up.
Yes, Ouroboros, yeah. I already watched Vadi's and Iron Pineapple's video.
Even the most seasoned Elden Ring veterans. Also, the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls 1 was very familiar to fight. Had sort of the same attacks, but even he had remix moves as well. And his boss theme was the exact same as Dark Souls 1, which was super nostalgic.
Same
One thing
theme?
to note is that Morgoth, aside from being a mini-boss at the end of the day, can also randomly invade you during the day and chase you across the map. It's absolutely terrifying. Now let's talk about Nightrein's permanent progression system, Relics. After each run,
Relics.
win or lose, you get 3 random...
Oh, so the relic system is actually tied to the actual successive runs and not actually part of the run. Oh, that's so fucking cool. Nice. You have even more stuff to look forward to after doing a run. Nice.
Relics. However, the better the run, the higher rarity the relics will be. Each character can equip up to 3 relics. Each relic has a color, and each character has color-coded slots. You can only equip runes of the same color. So for example, the Duchess only has 3 green slots, so you can only equip green relics on her. However, there is a way to unlock different color slots for each character. So eventually, you'll be able to equip different colors on her as well.
I see.
If you've ever played Bloodborne and messed with blood gems, this is basically the exact same system. The bonuses on these relics range from really basic stuff, like more % damage of the great swords, to exclusive character-only ability unlocks, like the one I got for Wilder, which allowed him to do a unique attack after he grappled. There was also a unique relic that allowed you to heal your teammates with your Estus Flask, similar to Wide Range from Monster Hunter or Dark Souls 1, where you could heal for your teammates. There was also another...
Not blood gem. It's not like blood gems. He said it's like... You have... Do you know how like blood gems, you have like different slots? So you have like your radial slot, your triangle slot, right? It's probably going to be like that, but like, the effect's not going to be the same. It's like you have to go through chalice dungeons to farm for them. Like after you get a run, you're going to get an effect and you can equip it. And the effects are going to be different, it seems. As you can see, like you get unique light attack, or you get unique attacks. Unique healing and stuff, so...
Another support relic, similar to the flask sharing relic, except for consumables, which allowed you to designate one player as the designated consumable guy. You would pick up all the best consumables, and in a pinch, he'd use them for everyone.
Rings of runes? I mean, runes
really,
fucking...
Really
I don't think anybody fucking agrees.
So if you really want, you
argues
can make
that.
a support build, you can make a damage build. Possibilities are endless. This is actually the system that I'm most excited for, and I want to see more.
That's probably the thing I'm most excited for too. So like just doing successive runs, like doing a run and you can get some cool relics, and then that's probably what's going to actually help the weapons feel differently and have the characters feel differently, because it seemed like it was pretty basic. Just, you know, you have like just a regular moveset and you have like 2 abilities that you have like on cooldowns, Like you have your regular ability, you have like a passive, which doesn't really make you feel that much different, and you have your ultimate. But like these relics and having like character-specific relics make the classes feel more nuanced, and they can actually make them pretty more fun too. How much do you think it'll be priced? It's $40. It says that. It's the same price as Shadow of the Erdtree. Same price. They could have just sold this as like DLC for Elden Ring and put it into the actual Elden Ring game. So they could have just done that. It's like here's like a roguelike game mode. So yeah.
It's going to be really, really exciting to make unique builds for each character. Now let's dive into some more in-depth mechanics that I experienced during this play session. After you gain runes, you can level up at sites of great...
It's a standalone though? I was a standalone, but I'm saying they could have very well put it into the... as part of like Elden Ring DLC. But I guess they didn't, because obviously you have characters from other games and you have like, you know... It'd probably make more sense as a standalone game. Because it's not going to fit in with the lore. You have all these different characters and different mechanics, so... It's fine. But you can kind of see it as just like, you know... Elden Ring DLC again. But just, it's a roguelike DLC this time.
Spread across the map. This is a one-button action, and it doesn't allow you to allocate any points at all. You just automatically level up depending on how many runes you have. Makes it so you don't have to sit around and think about what your stat allocation should be, and keeps the game entirely gameplay focused. However, something we realized after a few hours of testing is that there are stats, and they do matter a lot. Each character has hidden stats, and certain stats that level up with them.
Hidden stats again.
In this test, the stats were not available anywhere. However, at the training dummy in the round table hold, you can spawn in any weapon in the entire game. From this menu, you're able to see the stat scaling of each weapon, which is really odd because you can't see the stats of the characters. I'm assuming that they'll either show the character stats or completely hide the weapon scaling in the full game. The stats were so impactful that Wilder did 50% more damage than the Recluse with a default Claymore. It's obvious that a knight like Wilder should do more damage in his role with weapons than the Recluse.
I just don't understand why they hide the stats. Like, it's pretty obvious that, like, the Wilder probably has, like, you know, like 30 strength and the other ones have, like, 10 strength. So it's like, what's the point of hiding the fucking stats? It's just like, they don't tell us, like, oh, like, this guy is gonna end up doing more damage with these types of weapons. They need to add that. But this was played a month ago, so hopefully it's different. And the network test is gonna be the same, but hopefully the base game, they don't make them fucking hidden.
Who focuses on spells, but I think it should be displayed.
Especially like, say, like just strength and dexterity, and it's still a scaling system as well, so C scalings and stuff.
In game somewhere, but knowing FromSoft, we'll probably just have to figure out all this stuff for ourselves. Anyways, I really had an absolute blast playing Nightreign. I'd end up having some major concerns for the final game. The biggest concern I have is that there might just not be enough content and randomness for this to be a successful roguelike. Like I mentioned earlier, each run should feel completely unique, and at least with this test, that was definitely not the case. The area was the same, the drop points were the same, the upgrades were the same, and the bosses were the same. Obviously, this is just a network test, and it's meant to be played once or twice, but still didn't instill any confidence that the final game will capture that perfect roguelike feeling.
Nobody but Vardy said that there was going to be 2 maps, because Vardy said there was going to be a second map. And nobody else said there was going to be a second map. So I'm not sure if Vardy's talked to one of the employees and they just spilled some more information than they should have. I feel like there will be more than what the demo is going to show us. Because it would be pretty weird if you're going to have to fight the same bosses all over and over again. So it's just a matter of how much, and yeah, we don't know yet.
It has the ability to be something incredible, but I left wanting more. I'm certain they'll end up using the 100+ Elden Ring bosses in the final game. And also, that's not including the bosses that they're importing from Dark Souls. We were told that in the final game, there's also going to be biome changes and random events occurring, such as volcanoes randomly spawning and an ant swarm just attacking you out of the blue.
I don't want ant swarms. I don't mind volcanoes exploding, and different biomes is cool.
Which is going to definitely mix up the gameplay loop. I'm excited to see all of the variety and what...
There's 8 final bosses and 4 additional classes, so there's more content. Yeah, I mean, there's more content. It's talking about the randomness, because like when you drop into the map, there's supposed to be like randomized, you know, boss locations. They're saying that all the locations are in the same spots. All the bosses are in the same spots, and all like the points of interest are in the same spot for every single run. That's probably something that's specific to the demo. I was talking about that.
what the full game has to offer, but I really, really need to get my hands on it to make a final verdict on how I feel about Nightreign. But so far, I'm really excited. Now, here are some pro tips for you guys entering the network test on Friday. Number 1, dump your significant other, or do it with them because it's on Valentine's Day. Number 2, always stick together. Ping items on the floor for other players and places to head to on the map. Sticking together not only makes the game easy.
Extra Life already made a video. What class are you? Meet the Night Fair classes. They already made a class guide, these guys.
Easier, allows you to get all the upgrades found throughout the world. Number 3, prioritize going to churches. They have flask upgrades inside of them and will allow you to get up to 7
games in recent
flasks.
memory have left me with an
Number
inability
4,
to process.
focus on leveling and equipping higher rarity equipment. The damage difference between a low rarity weapon and a higher rarity weapon is absolutely massive in this game. Number 5, if you get a stone sword key, be sure to check your map, ping the location, and head to it to get insanely powerful loot for your team. And number 6,
stone
if
sword
you see an
keys.
upgrade that automatically casts something when you sprint, grab it. They're super overpowered. So that's about it.
Thank you, Ouroboros. Let's go watch this Fextra video and that's about it.
That's what I exactly just played while simultaneously compelling me to play over and over and over like Elden Ring Nightreign. Ever since playing a couple weeks ago an event in Frankfurt, Germany, thanks to an invitation by Bandai Namco, I have pretty much done...
This guy went to Germany to play? So they did one in Germany and probably did one in Vegas.
nothing but think of playing Nightreign despite playing excellent RPGs like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Avowed. In this Nightreign video, I'm going to be showing you a condensed version of what one run in Elden Ring Nightreign looks like, and I'm going to walk you through what's happening on the screen and point out details that you may not understand because you haven't played the game. I was able to...
He's probably not going to tell us anything we haven't already seen. We were seeing 3 videos. Why weren't you invited? Because I was in another country and they weren't going to fly me out. They flew Vardy out because, you know, he's has like 3 million fucking subscribers and I don't.
Here they've selected Recluse, Guardian, and Wilder. They did not pick Duchess, although you will see some Duchess gameplay later on in this video. The network test only has these 4 characters to choose from, but there will be 8 in total at the full version of the game. So after loading into the game on day 1, players will coast down to a landing location on a subsection of the map. During the network test, there are only 2 locations that you'll load into, either A or B, and these will kind of determine the routes that you're going to take on your first couple of days. And in the full...
There's another thing, though. I can only fly to 2 separate points in the map. I wonder if, like, you know, you're going to be able to go fly to more than just 2 separate points.
Version of the game, you will have more random locations to land in.
Never mind.
But in the network test, it's either going to be A or B.
Never mind.
You can see the team of Nightfarers lands in a location where there are weak enemies guarding a few chests, and this is very smart, as it's going to allow them to get some quick loot. During the skirmish here, you can see Wilder use his character skill called Claw Shot, which allows him to shoot out a grappling hook that pulls enemies to him, or pulls him to enemies if they're larger. And one particular interesting thing here is you can see he uses this about 7 seconds apart, and that's because this skill has about a 7-second cooldown, so you can use it quite often. So after presumably looting the chest, which we don't see, the Nightfarers...
Buddy had the most subs at any Soul channel? Yeah, by far.
As you get
He's
near
the
a site
biggest
of
by
grace
far.
in Nightreign, you will actually restore all of your HP and FP, as well as replenish your flasks, of which you begin the game.
Been at it
with
for a
3.
while.
Additionally, you can use sites of grace...
What did he say?
See, the Nightfarers head to a site of grace that's nearby. As you get near a site of grace in Nightreign, you will actually restore all of your HP and FP, as well as replenish your flasks, of which you begin the game with 3. Additionally, you can use sites of grace in order to level up your character if you've gained XP from killing enemies or bosses. Unlike Elden Ring, you don't place points into stats or anything like that. Each character has its separate character progression, and you just level up and it will increase the native stats of that character. After heading past the site of grace, the Nightfarers stumble upon another set of ruins with some enemies guarding some loot. Wilder chucks a firebomb in here, which absolutely annihilates all the enemies. Firebombs are very deadly in Elden Ring Nightreign. Each character can carry up to 4 consumables simultaneously, and you can scroll through those consumables to use what you want, not unlike
Stop biting me.
Immediately following that, the Nightfarers take on a Golem Warrior, which I'm presuming in this case is actually a boss. A lot of difficult enemies, or larger, more difficult enemies, have become field bosses in this game that will reward you with loot upon defeating them. I'm assuming that the Golem Warrior here is also one of those. After that, Wilder does a little bit of exploring, and you get a sense of the exploration mechanics in Elden Ring Nightreign, as he's able to climb up walls rather easily by double jumping and be able to reach places you wouldn't normally in Elden Ring. Next, we come across a bunch of loot, and this is the first look that you'll have
That was the Lucerne. It was called the Lucerne too. Okay, cool.
at the equipment of Elden Ring Nightreign. The first weapon we get to see here is the long-haft axe, which has an attack of 90, which is actually higher attack than what he's currently using. The kick weapon skill is on the weapon, and its passive benefit is called Improved Chain Attack Finishers. This is increased by 10%. Every weapon in Elden Ring Nightreign now has a passive benefit. These are randomized, so they'll be different on every playthrough, but they can give you all kinds of different bonuses. He then has a look at the Finger Seal, which drops, which has 95 incantation scaling, has the spells Rejection and Heal on it. You'll cast these with either R1 or R2.
I don't think it's going to tell us anything different. I don't think we're going to find out anything different.
Pressing on, Wilder looks to take on a Leonin Misbegotten with character skills or ultimates. Any sort of damage can
Be a boss refight system to fight base game Elden Ring bosses. Will there be a boss refight system? Who said that? Anyway, I don't want to watch any more of this. We're done. We are done. Well, we've got to learn more about Nightreign. We get to play it again in a couple days. That's getting pretty interesting. We got Liza P DLC trailer. That's fantastic. I'm going to play Liza P sometime soon. So yeah, there's that. Every playthrough will change the weapon's passive. Yeah, they'll be different. It's going to be like completely randomized. So the weapons will be randomized. Probably their damage values will be randomized, as well as what passive abilities. And their rarity too, I believe, maybe. Maybe they'll have step rarity. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. We're not going to be on tomorrow because tomorrow's my day off. But then the day after... Actually, no. Tomorrow I will be streaming, but it'll be really late because that's when the network test starts. So... it'll be like tomorrow, like 10 hours from now. Anyway, thank you guys for being here, and I will catch you all around. Bye. See yous.